Welcome to the Denver Coliseum in Denver, Colorado for the men's and women's USA Curling National Championships. Tonight will be men's draw number 6. 8 teams in a 7-game round robin. The winner of this tournament will advance to the 2023 Men's World Curling Championships in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Here in the booth tonight, Tyler George alongside my good friend, Mitchell D. Billings, Esquire. Mitch, great to have you in the booth with us.
It's great to be here. I'm glad I was able to be in town tonight.
Here we see the standings. Teams Casper and Dunham atop the standings at 4-1. Dropkin, Shuster, and Smith at 3-2. Sampson 2-3. Ruin and 1-4, and Sobering 0-5. Here is our feature matchup tonight. Team Dropkin at 3-2 and Team Shuster at 3-2. These teams know each other extremely well. Two of the front runners for this championship going toe-to-toe this evening. Here are the rosters. At lead, Thomas Howell. Second, Mark Fenner. Third, Andrew Stepera. Skip, Korey Dropkin. And coach, Mark Lazar. And for Team Shuster, alternate Colin Huffman. Lead, John Landsteiner. Second, Matt Hamilton. Third, Christopher Plies. Skip, John Shuster. And coach, Stephen Berklid. Now, Mitch, I'm not real familiar with Team Shuster. Haven't spent a whole lot of time around them, so really going to be leaning on you tonight for the insider info on that foursome.
Well, they did bring me in because they needed somebody who knew more about curling than you. So,
yeah, that's usually not a problem for anybody we bring in here. For those of us that are old has-beens. So this will be a fun one tonight, Mitch, and probably a spot that these two teams didn't expect to be in. At 3-2 with a 7-game round robin, a third loss, really puts you on the edge of playoff contention. So one of these two teams following this game probably going to be desperate for a win in their final game and really looking to avoid dropping to 3 losses tonight.
So you're starting to do the math. What are we thinking in terms of any tiebreaker craziness?
It's very likely at this point that 4-3 could end up being in a tiebreaker. So a loss tonight would not eliminate either one of these teams from playoff contention. But 4-2 as opposed to 3-3 with 1 game to go is a much better position. And a 2-loss team going in should have no problem making the Final Four. But again, with the Page system, finishing in that 1 or 2 seed means so much more than the 3 or 4. You have to win 3 straight games from the 3-4 in order to win the championship. 1-2, not only do you get a grace game, but you only have to win twice to win the championship. So our first stone is on the way. Team Dropkin throwing lead stone here, Tom Howell. Team Shuster won the last shot draw, so they will have hammer in the first end.
And I'm sure Tom's having fun now, but not more fun than our time together in the St. Paul Summer Spiel a few years ago.
Tom does have a lot of fun at that Spiel, I can attest to that. Good center guard to start things off for Mr. Howell. John Landsteiner, his first stone for Team Shuster. Throwing towards a corner guard, and Mitch, it's always nice calling games that John Shuster is on the mic for as well, because we can lay out and listen a lot and take some notes and learn some things.
Well, I did suggest a 3-man booth, so I think we got it.
Much better than a 3-man lift, yes.
Yeah.
So a good corner guard from Landsteiner. Good to see both teams aggressive early with a center guard and corner guard. Take a look at the other matchups again. Smith and Casper on sheet A, Sampson Dunham on sheet B, Ruin and Sobering on sheet C, and our feature game, Dropkin and Shuster on sheet D. Mitch is the 3rd game on sheet D that we've had today, all 3 for our features. So we'll see if the ice holds the same as we've seen, but with this out turn going down for right-handed players.
What?
We've seen a lot more curl going towards sheet A than towards sheet E. So we'll see if that holds for this draw as well.
What's your biggest surprise of the week so far?
I haven't really been surprised by a lot just because the field is tighter than it's been in past years, and those teams in the 4, 5, 6, 7 range are extremely competitive. And I've been surprised, I suppose, the most by team Ethan Sampson. What, 2 and 3 only, but could very easily be 4 and 1. Very young squad. They'll be our junior men's representatives at the World Championships coming up this spring. But it's been very competitive top to bottom, so there haven't been a whole lot of blowouts, games going the distance pretty much the entire week. You see that freeze well made by Lance Steiner starting the game off strong.
So you've played with and against everyone on the ice. Are we going to get a quick, aggressive start, or are they going to feel each other out for a little bit?
Yeah, I would have expected things to be a little more conservative at the start, but you see from the lead stones with center guard and a corner guard that both teams look like they're going to be aggressive from the get-go, and now stacking freezes in the 4-foot. 5 well-placed stones to start this game. It looks like we're going to have a good one.
You can also do this. I kind of like this. You can roll in with half. Solid half, 12.
A veteran move by Shuster. Instead of peeling this stone off or playing the run, with it as tight as it is, they can play hack weight, try to roll into the rings. At the very least, open it up.
Hard center. Hard! Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. That's okay.
Wow. Clear that red stone, but does chip it into the rings and open up the center.
I think we have to guard Tom's side.
And Mitch, very important early in the game too for Team Shuster with hammer. They're not going to get over aggressive here. They want to make sure they avoid steal, see if they can give themselves a chance to score or blank. So opening up the middle, most important thing for them in this first half.
Well, it's even worse if we guard it then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Peel attempt here by Mark Fenner. Even after the mostly aggressive start, both teams
clean.
With a little more conservative plays in the middle of this end. Fenner makes the peel, bumps his own rock back to the back 12-foot. So you see John Shuster move these rocks around now.
I don't know. Even just right in front of it's good.
So when you play these teams so often, how do you approach it? Do you think they try to be fresh every time they play them, or do they, have a pretty good idea, anticipate how their opponents are going to?
You'll definitely pick up on some tendencies from your opponents with these repeated games and the familiarity, but a lot of what you do throughout these ends is dictated by the rock position. So John's not somebody that has a dead game plan every single time he goes out there. He'll have a plan from end to end, but based on where the rocks end up, that may change as it goes. I think Team Dropkin, they'll play a little more aggressive against John than they would against some other teams because they have a lot of confidence against Shuster. They have a fairly good record. They've beaten him in the national championships multiple times. So I think you might see Korey a little more aggressive than he has been in the last few games.
I don't love not hitting shot stone.
But there are certainly some things that both teams know about each other that they'll play to or play away from.
Quite a few catchers in the back here now, huh?
A lot of fodder for jam stones. So again, Shuster playing that with soft weight. That's by design, keeping those rocks in the back of the house. And those rocks really don't help Team Dropkin very much without hammer. Schuster's very happy to have those stones to use either for freezes or jams. Andrew Stapera now with his first of the game. Just playing an intern pass.
It's close, maybe a hair big.
The straighter side of the sheet holds to what we've seen so far, so that's why you see that tight broom taken by Dropkin for this throw. ends up jamming on one of those stones in the back, as we were just alluding to. Expert in the booth already, Mitch, bringing up those stoppers in the back.
Even
And
that's not
there's your
bad. This
jam
double is
immediately.
going here, so you can make this
Well,
double.
you know,
Throw,
I don't get to play as often as I used to these days.
throw
but,
normal anyways. Get this one moving out
I
of
still
here.
remember a couple things.
Yeah, that's the great thing about being in the booth is you don't have to actually be good at curling to call these games. For those of us that are retired and has-beens, washed up, as long as you can make it sound like you know what you're talking about, that's the key. Say
Clean.
things with confidence, and then that's all that really matters.
Close. Yep.
So Ply's playing the intern pass.
Hard. Hard.
Ends up catching the back a little, but Shuster now sitting 3. No guards in play, everything wide open. Dropkin will try to figure out how to lose at least 2 of these on this shot. Mitch, what double do you like here?
I think the one they're going with on the outside there, because if you went at the top middle one, pretty likely jam in the back, right?
Yeah, and also good broadcaster chops there too, with waiting until you see which one they point to. They call that.
You know.
I like the one that Korey's about to play. Yeah. So they will play this double on the number 1 counter and the number 2. Should play into a pretty makeable shot. Not a lot of jam possibilities on this unless it overcurls a little. This one hanging a little. Dead sticks on the back.
So what do we just keep putting them in the middle? You don't worry
Yeah,
about
as
those 2
long
in the
as
back, I
yeah.
would assume.
I'm down with that.
I
mean, you
think
could
you'll see the
freeze or hit
freeze
it.
here. There
I
isn't
mean,
a
this
great
is the same
double
place we
opportunity
threw corner that
even,
ran
but,
good, so I'm
like,
down.
if you do play to this side. But as long as you're going to play over there anyways,
That's
you
the
might
line
as
it
well
came
play to
to,
a
too, so it's
freeze.
good.
Doesn't have to be made perfectly to be a good shot. I like this call from Shuster. So Ply's playing the intern freeze on this rock in the back of the 12-foot.
A little bit early if you can. How's the weight? Steiner,
What do you
stay
think
down.
of the Chris
Yep.
Ply's look without a hat, Mitch?
It's a new look.
Above
I
this
almost
one or
didn't.
what?
I almost didn't recognize him
14-2.
earlier.
Whoa!
It's a new
Going
look.
by, so-
That's
Yeah, hang on.
that's good enough. That rock needs to stop to stay count.
Sorry,
Like Chris might have got that one going just a little bit. Ends up going deep. So Dropkin now can play maybe this slash double without any fear. Thinking maybe nose even is good, but slash over the top may be a little safer.
Even if we do this,
So far, is it moving more, the ice?
Really straight here.
Than earlier in the week.
We're seeing a little bit more curl today
straight
than
here.
we did. I believe we were told that the rocks have been scratched, which means they papered the running surface to try to get them to be a little more coarse and curl more. And we have seen that today, not to a drastic
Throw a good one
degree,
down there,
but
buddy.
players are happy with the change that
Yep.
hack and board weight shots especially are a little more makeable. So Dropkin playing the double on this stone in the top of the house.
Weight's good.
Korey's first in this game.
Yep. Hard, bud. Real hard. Hard, buddy.
Playing it to the nose.
Keep it there. Keep it there. Go, go, go.
Oh, picks it clean over the top. That's a beautiful throw by Korey
Great shot.
Dropkin.
Great start, buddy.
Good confidence builder early in the game there, Mitch. Anytime you can make
That's what I told him.
a finesse shot like that, even though it's an up weight shot, it's still finesse because
We
you're
probably
avoiding
gotta
all
go
that
over the
backing
top
and
to
hitting a
make the
very
roll
specific
like
spot on
normal.
that stone.
Okay. Edge rock. I'll throw it 9.
Shuster hitting this stone. They don't want to leave that on the center line. Really just trying to make sure they score at this point.
Center, watch us roll. Try to roll it over to
Looks
like
as
the edge
though-
8 foot. Oh, close. Yep.
Throw on the way for Schuster.
Hard.
Maybe get a double on the back one if they can as well.
Whoa, that's good. Center.
Misses the
Whoa.
back, but
Good.
does roll over for second count. Didn't quite spin in for shot rock, but Dropkin looks as though they may be playing the hit anyways.
10-5? Yeah, I think that's good.
Mitch, I think Dropkin's a little concerned that John might be able to see enough of that back one if they did draw open.
Okay.
Johnny
So
threw
they're
one
just
of
gonna
these in
play the
practice,
hit,
and it was just nice
try to
gradual.
roll in. Korey Dropkin playing his last. Should be, even though it's going inside out, this is a little straighter turn. Just trying to roll into the 8-foot, maybe right close to the center line. They even just roll to
Weight's
half in
good.
the 8s and make Schuster draw. Corey's final stone of this first end on the way. Really trying to get this one to curl. Stick around with the shooter. Doesn't appear as though that's going to be the case. So Schuster may have a double opportunity now, Mitch.
We don't have to move it very far. I mean, what weight can I not roll over the top?
A little bit of an exciting first end here.
I think normal I could still roll.
Yeah, no guards in play, but a bunch of doubles. Opening things up, and I think this is a good
it's where my
risk-reward
for sure
shot
can.
for John.
I'm tempted to play across it. I mean, we did just see his run, though. Yeah, let's play this way. 2 inches, a little more. Yeah. What's that?
He's actually playing the
know if
inside
this is
out
enough ice.
turn on this to get a
Corey
little
was pretty
backwards
square with that
kick.
last one still. But over curls and hits the nose, we still score. So.
Final stone of this first end, John Schuster with the double attempt for 2. Nose hit would still be 1.
Yep, hard, hard.
Only playing this with maybe
Hard!
normal, if that.
Hard for nose!
This one's crossing
Hard, guys,
already.
right to it. All right. That was not a very good effort. My bad.
Just kind of got that one going a little bit, and will just be a score of 1 for Schuster. So after one end of play, Schuster leads Dropkin 1-0. So 1-0 Schuster over Dropkin after one end of play. Start of the second end means it's time to talk to you about Warm Room Hero. Is your curling club website clunky and unworkable? Are you tired of your club relying on social media because your website just does not work for your members? Finally, the curling management software your club has been waiting for is here. Check out Warm Room Hero at curling.club today.
Okay, get a nice 3
Mitch,
out
how
of
many
it.
times have you used the words
Probably
clunky and
curl,
unworkable with regard
but I
to
think it'll
anything
get
in
here,
your
but
life?
don't need to crazy carve it.
Nothing
16-7.
specific, but
Go ahead, Chris. Yep.
A few.
Nice start, Lance.
So do you think, the first end was not a normal first end? Or, do you think we'll try to rein it in here a little bit? Or?
Well, they didn't have guards in play. I mean, they did to start with, and both teams played a little conservative and moved those off after the guards were thrown. So you saw both teams play shots that helped them stay out of trouble, avoid the possible 2 or 3 point end for Dropkin, and avoid the steal for Schuster. And so much with both of these teams is going to be about who controls the forefoot and being first in. So Shuster, even with the 1-point lead, goes right to a center guard, and Dropkin goes right underneath. And John really likes to be first in or control that center of the house. Korey's well aware of that. That's why they're going around that center as opposed to going a corner guard. I think you're going to see that a lot tonight, that as opposed to Dropkin going to corners as long as it's a close game when they have hammer, that they'll go right around any center guard that John plays.
Match is yours, but I don't know if you can do much to it. 14-2.
This rock is well around that stone.
Let it grind to where it is. Where it's
Really wouldn't
right,
want to be back button, but they don't mind if it's back 8s. That's not a bad spot for Landsteiner.
Where is that? On top of theirs?
No, we're just drawing top 4, I think.
Just top 4?
Right around ours.
So I'll give you same almost?
Tom Howell with his second of the second end. I think out-turn draw. Just looking to nestle one into the button or freeze on that rock in the back of the 8-foot. Both be good results.
So, you know, it just dawned on me, Korey's been out there sweeping.
Yeah, that's a more recent development. He's been doing it for this entire tournament, but it's a change they made very close to nationals. Korey's still throwing last stones, but Andrew Stupera is in the house calling the game, so Korey able to get out a little more of that energy and aggression with sweeping for 4 stones at the end.
Well, I've heard he occasionally goes to the gym, so
if you follow his social media at all, you'd be well aware of that. Yes.
Flat, so
yeah, Korey, one of the fittest players in the game.
Close for line. Line's good though.
And I can't speak to why that decision was made. I haven't spoken with Korey or
Steiner.
Coach
Can't bounce on this line
Mark
either.
Lazar about that.
Let it keep hooking. Lock it on, center. Lock it on.
But if it's something the team is comfortable with, then
Pistol.
it's hard to argue with it. Results speak for themselves, you know, and it's easy to second guess after the fact, and we'll see how the week ends up going for these guys.
Got a nice straight line of rocks here. Everybody has found the middle line.
So again, Dropkin not real pleased with the way these rocks are setting up, so they're bailing on the center line, trying to clear things up. Crosses over, just misses the stone on the top of the 8-foot. Does roll to a corner. It's not a bad result for Team Dropkin.
Two, three, yep.
Shuster looking to replace that guard. Hamilton throwing probably a mid-tight guard. We heard 2-3.
Line's good. Real easy right now. Looks like it's really gliding too, so.
Were you
be ready for the last
beholden to the stopwatch in your playing days, or did you like to just go just off the field?
Keep going.
I barely use the watch, far less than anybody else on the team.
Attaboy, Matty.
So I would use times for reference, maybe for a hit every once in a while, or if you told me that a line was a 1/10 slower or a 1/10 faster, then I can make that change, but I don't need to know what the time is in the first place usually, unless I ask. I like going off the field. John loved going off the watch.
Yep.
Matt and John both use watches fairly frequently when they were sweeping. But very rarely did I use one.
Well, that shook things up a little bit.
Opens things up a little bit for Team Dropkin. Shuster still
nose is good
sitting first and third, but will hit this stone immediately. And even though
I think
Shuster
I even just like nose.
3,
10.
Without having anything piled up in the forefoot, that'll make things easier for Dropkin to try to find a 2 using their guards. Chris Plies his first stone of the second, playing in-turn pass.
Lead. Lead up. Yep. Hard. Right to it, Steiner.
Steiner on the
right
sweep here.
That's good. Good. Good.
It does make the nose hit by design. may see a double and roll
Gotta be
attempt
careful where you
from
roll it to, though.
Dropkin now.
Also, if we leave them lying 2 and they draw into the middle, is that okay?
And Mitch, here, this is the part of the game where that lineup
You ever just hate hitting, rolling off the outside one?
Position change, but who's in the house tends to slow things down a little bit for the game. As you see Dropkin and Stepera
Just
end up
yeah, I don't
discussing
know.
Andrew's shots.
Great result if you make it.
Almost
I'm just
every
curious.
end too. So as opposed to when you have
Just hit the
the
outside one
skip
and roll in, but if
calling
you like this, I like
the
it.
first 6 as well, you don't often see the vice come down and talk about that. So it can chop up the game a little bit, can use a little extra time. Don't know that it's affected Dropkin too much to this point, but
It's close. Maybe a hair down, if
especially
anything.
with the clock later.
Hard.
And I'm noticing now too, I don't see any sensors on the handles this week.
Yeah, that's something that we've discussed too. That the teams
It's all right.
in international events were having a hard time with
We're still 1-2.
false red lights, and there was a lot of game stoppages where they had to consult officials because
What?
players that weren't over the hog line were
I mean, you
getting
can
hog
dead
line
bury it under
violations
if you
because
want.
of-
But there's a spot
defective
here to leave a
sensors.
triple, which sucks. But
So they've just eliminated those in the meantime and
I
going
mean, I
back
think
to
that's good though.
standard handles.
Let them, I guess.
Schuster still sitting 2, so that rock behind the guard, they're going to ignore it, come around both of those stones, try to get to the top of the 4-foot.
Okay. 5's good.
In
Lots
turn
of room
draw
right
for
now.
Plies.
Stay with it though, close. Close both of you. That's right where we're going. Both of you close still. Both of you close, it's Matt still. Close. Banner, get close still. Okay. I'm okay with back button. Just going around the clock, that's fine. All right.
Stone will
Fine.
bury, but go behind the tee line. Dropkin has a double opportunity or a draw, whichever they prefer to make.
I think it might be best if you just.
What
roll
did
right
you
on
always
top of
like
them.
to do here? Were you more of the draw guy or the hit guy?
In this situation, I like the draw
Sit
more
half-
just
you probably
because that
quarter,
double's going
third
to be
open.
there later in the end to
Probably
use
a
if you
third
need
open.
it. You're kind of
Either
sometimes
way.
overcomplicating the shot by playing the double instead. The rationale for Korey may be that if they do make this double, if they ever get a chance to hit that other stone, they could possibly
No,
make the one in the
I don't
top
think
of
so.
the 8-foot count. They will need probably a half miss somewhere from Schuster for that to be the case. But there is a port between those 2 stones that they could use to get to that rock at the back of the 8-foot. So they are playing the double.
It's like it's going.
Great shot, and almost
all right.
moves over for count, but goes over the top. But again, that Yellowstone is accessible if they ever get a chance to use it.
Get old
Schuster's
dicey
taking
now.
a look at that port and checking it out now.
I don't know why we can even try to come
We'll
through.
listen in to John and see what he's
Yeah, I
thinking
just
here.
gotta keep. I mean, we go here, but it's going to be dicey no matter what we do. I guess here, that brings the double the lie 3 for them into play, whereas this doesn't. But I don't know. What do you think? Good with the roll. Still. Okay, let's do it then. Yep, that's fine. Just inside center for me.
Playing that come around draw, and most important thing here,
As long as we
Mitch,
bury his
is
chunk. I mean,
to be shot rock
double in there. But
or at least second, and also not leave any kind of double
14-5 on that one.
opportunity
That went back 8 foot,
for,
so
for Dropkin
pretty
with
much draw button.
second,
keep the
third
same, huh?
counters in there.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what I'm throwing right here. So. 12. All right, sounds good.
Well, Schuster's first on the way here in the second
Line's
end.
getting better.
Just looking to try to get to top 4 somewhere in there.
Definitely Matt's if we can sweep it all. Get ready.
Line really important here. Coming down hard.
Go ahead, Matt.
They may end up going deep
Go
just
ahead,
to
go.
make sure that
Keep going.
it's buried. Goes to the back of the button. Pretty good spot. No double opportunity there for Dropkin. do have a double run if they want to try to bring those into play. I would expect Mitch maybe just to see a little draw tap. Dropkin is still eyeballing that double run.
I think I like that.
It's very tempting,
Yep.
but maybe a little too risky for the situation.
Yeah, there's not a ton of risk this early in the game with a 1-0 score. But the draw bump,
moving it
much
inch.
simpler shot.
Move it an inch.
And you could still set up a possible 2 or possibly 3-point end playing this bump. They may end up just straight freezing as well, which would put Shuster in a little bit of a spot where they may have to refreeze because they wouldn't be able to get count.
Similar draw shot.
And that double run is still there for Korey, and that's a situation where you would look at that shot, where if you're frozen, Shuster would guard, then that run would be possibly for 4 if it lines up right. And that risk reward would be there for
I think we're
Korey.
close. Yep. Top 4, top
So
8.
he mentioned maybe wanting to bump
Top 4,
that
T.
rock on the button back an inch.
T. It's not moving.
But
T line.
Back T, back
Playing
4.
it to a freeze right
Back
now.
4.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're all there for weight.
Really needs
We're
to
all
turn
there.
over to stop.
All there. All
They
there.
don't want to
all
bump on this line because it may bump open.
Okay.
Bit of a teaser
You
for
ever-
Shuster now.
I mean, I think I got the whole rock. God,
He
it's
does
just so
have
dicey.
all of
I know
it.
the line to get in there, and if we're throwing it that soft, it's coming in this way. It's going to be almost impossible to hit it by there. But yeah, do you think I can cheat all the way into here or no? I do. Yeah.
so what's the weight for this shot? Just like
Let's
a
split
hack
the
weight
difference.
or a
Let's split the
board?
difference, yeah.
I think he's just going to play heavy draw.
Okay.
Really have to get
I mean, I could almost
inside
play
for this to
hack
be
and
good.
like get the nose or just inside a nose too. So I like back 8 though. Back 8.
You hear John
You
say
like the
back
room
8.
for back 8 foot?
They only really
It's a
want to
foot
bump
less than I
this
just had.
to back 4 and try to sit 2. The easiest way to
We
do
had
that
we had
is
to
by
sweep the
playing
curls.
as
So, like,
little
I
weight
even
as
think this is
possible
probably
to
even, like,
make it.
max if we, but
If you play
I'm gonna
hack,
give you
there is the
400.
danger that if it hangs,
plenty?
you
Okay.
jam, you
So
could
even-
again
okay.
give up that big end. So John's playing the safest shot and the one that gives him the most margin for error.
yep,
We're
hard.
looking to move this rock a couple feet. Should get some
Easy,
pretty good
easy.
curl on this line.
Matt, go ahead, hard.
Very
Hard, Matt,
close.
go.
Well, gets inside. Sitting 1, but Dropkin's second count. Maybe a looking at that slash again now with maybe catching the back of that other stone, but don't know that that's
It's
there.
thinner than that.
Mitch, I'm not sure if there's a shot for 2 here or not. May end up just trying to slash that over the top and
For
take
sure.
his 1 point.
Tier 1. Yeah.
I think it's a thin third.
Lining it up right now. You heard thin third for Dropkin, meaning he wants to hit third or less of this stone.
Yep.
To take their 1.
So this is essentially just a picking it out of
Thin
there,
third's okay here.
leveling
Right.
the game
I
back.
said thin
Yeah,
third
as
is
long as
okay.
you don't straight jam on the rock in the back of the 4-foot, then should
No.
get your 1 point.
I think,
But a well-placed
I
stone, a
think
well
it's
thought
pretty
out by
tight.
Shuster.
I think we have to hit less than that.
Avoid any situation where they could give up more than 1 with this placement. So last stone of the second end, Korey Dropkin playing peel weight, just trying to slash this rock over the top of stone in the back of the 4-foot for his 1 point. In turn in the middle of the sheet, one of Korey's favorites, especially with up weight.
Tom had to go pretty much the whole way, but look at that.
And they did catch the back of that other stone. But does end up being a single
Close, yeah.
Good try.
4-team Dropkin. And after 2 ends of play, Shuster and Dropkin tied at 1. Start of end number 3 in this feature matchup, the 2023 Men's USA Curling National Championships. Team Shuster, Team Dropkin each at 3-2 this week and tied at 1 tonight. Tyler George in the booth alongside Mitch Billings. And Mitch, it's great to have a good buddy in the booth with me and a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar in front of me.
I just wrapped up a 3-day annual meeting for work here in Denver, and caffeine is much appreciated at this point in the week.
Line's good.
Because of that thin air, right? That's what you're talking
It'll be
about.
good,
Yeah,
but there's room.
absolutely. Gotta hydrate, gotta get caffeine in you.
Okay, easy then. Let it stop in the top 8 foot if we can.
So Dropkin starts this end with a
Timed out
mid-center
all the way.
guard from Tom Howell. Shuster again with
That away,
hammer
Lancer.
coming around that. Steiner going to top of the 4 foot. Andrew Stapera immediately calling the freeze on the stone. So, Mitch, we may see some stones piled up in the 4 foot once again to start the end.
Yeah. G top 12 though. I think we're okay. Top 8, guys. Weight's good.
Be remiss if we didn't give a hello to our friends throughout the country.
You got a lot of friends. That could mean a lot of people. It's good that you didn't start naming them one by one.
Yeah, I'll go.
This could
You
take
want to
a
go
while.
through them all? I mean,
No. You can name cities if you like, and I think that's probably good enough.
yeah. But it's great to be back around a curling spiel. A few years in Texas has got me away from the ice, so.
Line's good.
Now, this is the best part of curling, though, Mitch,
That's
as I
fine.
can attest to in
Line's
retirement,
great.
is you don't actually have to, put in the work and
Lines
play.
can get here too.
You can just
Always
talk and
stress, I think.
pretend like we know what we're talking about here in
Always
the
press
booth.
straight. Yep. Yep.
Have you had
Hard!
a chance to enjoy
Hard, stay on.
Denver
All right.
in your time here, or has it been
This week?
Yeah.
No. It's been basically 3 games a day, so keeping plenty busy. Today actually was
I
the
don't know if I
first
love
time I
the
left in between draws to go out and get a bite to eat before I came
Nah.
back.
Well, there's a great local beer here.
I think I know
You
which
might
one
have
you're
heard
going
of
with.
it. I'd suggest you try one.
I think they're headquartered here, right? Coors
Yeah.
Light you're talking about?
I
Coors
think so.
Brewery?
Yeah. There's a little startup out there in Golden.
I don't believe USA Curling has any beer
We don't want to
sponsorships,
guard their
so,
rock, though, do we?
Same as we
I think
referenced
it's
Dr.
your
Pepper
first
Zero
call.
Sugar, we would like to give a shout out to Coors Light. So stacking a few rocks again on the center line. Kind of a mixed double style, battling for position above the tee. Usually, Mitch, with these freezes being made back and forth repeatedly, eventually one of the teams doesn't
Go around.
like the way it's set up and ends up smashing and opening things up.
And
We've
those
gotten
are
to
the
that
crowd
point already
pleaser
in both
shots.
the first 2 ends.
Yeah.
What's that now?
And those are the crowd pleaser shots.
Oh yes, that's what we want. We want to see a lot of granite moving. So Fenner's first stone of this end bounces off a little bit, and
That goes
Schuster
by
eyeing up
now.
these angles.
Yeah, you could also, where, here? I think you just go here. I don't know. Like, this doesn't get us much, except for we're going to have to hit it at some point to get this, or they could use it. I mean, I can smash this, I understand. But
I
it
think I agree
doesn't
with
line up
Schuster.
onto ours if we got rid of this rock right now, if you just want to do this.
You've been behind the scenes. Does he have a nice cup of like honey tea in between every draw or something to soothe the throat?
I've never seen any medicinal things that he's used to keep that voice, and I don't remember at any point John's voice going away. I certainly would remember a day like that. He's got a supernatural voice box, I believe. Ply's trying to get this to turn over to make contact. Ends up hitting the back stone. I don't know if Hamilton just flared that one a little bit. That is a straighter line on that side of the sheet, Mitch. And that's something that we've seen all week.
Yeah.
That intern, especially on the way towards sheet E. And outside of the middle of the 8 foot, even more so than anywhere else, just runs straight. So not much margin for error on a shot like that. Maybe a touch up as well from Hamilton.
Line's a little tight, Tommy.
Ends up moving their own stone to the back of the 12 foot, and Dropkin now.
Clean it. Line's really close.
The offensive.
Line's really close. Yep. Yes. Bump's okay. Hard. Hard.
Get to the inside.
Hard, 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 hard. Hard, unlock him. Unlock him. Really good.
That's a pretty good shot there. Good sweep by Fenner and Dropkin to hold that line.
What's that, this way? It's fine.
And just as we talked about, Mitch, we've now gotten to that point where Schuster's not happy with the angles and the setup, so time to bail. And that's the cat and mouse game that we'll see all night from these two skips.
Just a little less than 3/4. This should curl a little.
It's about recognizing when those positions and the angles aren't playing to your favor.
Yep.
And bailing
Whoa.
when you have the right opportunity, not waiting too long.
Hard, Chris. Hard. Keep going.
When you see these two teams on the lineup going head to
Sorry,
head,
Maddie.
are you thinking a game like this hits the over, or?
I actually told Phil Drobnik before this game tonight that I thought this would be a lower scoring affair. That just because they're so evenly matched and they don't want to make a mistake that gives the other team an opportunity. That this would probably be a lower scoring game than what we've seen for a lot of these tilts this week, especially on the Dropkin side of things. The last couple games for them have been lower scoring, a little more open. I think that's by Coach Mark Lazar's design, that they really wanted to simplify the game, getting themselves in trouble in spots they shouldn't have.
Tight. Top 12 tight.
Just wanted to rely more on the execution itself.
Top 12.
So I wouldn't be surprised at all if 7
right up to it. Right up to it.
Right to it.
Just right to it. It's right to it.
No real scores of consequence in the other games thus far. There's been one deuce on all 4 sheets so far. In 8 ends of play.
I think we can hit this inside nose, spring this, and it's going to scrape, and it might go scrape. Well, I'm just saying if we try to hit and not roll out, just to go here. You know what I mean? Or roll this far with peel. Yeah, pretty close to nose, Chris. Nah, it's going to go by that one. I mean, if we hit it high, it would probably go scrape. Low's just going to miss it and go into this.
So are they looking to get 3 here?
Yeah.
Or
Somewhere
just
around
take
the
out
nose,
a couple
Chris.
of them?
Good.
John thinks that he can lose at least that second stone, and maybe when he's saying scrape, he's talking about just edging that first stone over that red one that's frozen on the yellow, and maybe even catching the back one too on the edge of the stone. We'll see if he's right on the angles. He's really wrong.
Whoa! Yep! That works.
Actually misses the top one completely, but makes the double on the back one, and that's an important rock to remove.
I think so.
Dropkin's still not unhappy with these angles, though. The way these 2 yellow rocks are set up, I think he believes that he can, at the very least, just get the back one and move that other yellow one to the wing. So yeah, Mitch, it really, for these first 3 ends, very cautious for both teams after lead stones. They've been willing to throw a few guards to start the ends off, but neither team wants to get themselves into a jam, and I think Shuster probably talked about that with his guys, and I know Mark Lazar has done that for the last 3-4 games with his team. Really hung that one out, actually, for Andrew Stepera. Not close to where they wanted to hit that, so good opportunity now for Shuster to set up a cheap 2. They'll go the open side.
We got to do is bite the 8-foot. Yeah. I'll give you a little more space, Chris.
Supply's just looking to throw back 8s on this open side. As long as they outcount Team Dropkin Stone, that's biting the top of the 8-foot. That's the #1 goal.
Line's good. Line's good. Right here to my broom.
Landsteiner and Hamilton look like they like the weight here.
Yeah, take a look. Take a look. 15. Yep, go ahead. Yep. Yep. Every inch. Keep going, Matty.
It's hard not to laugh on those with how many times that exact situation happened over the years where John will call to take a look and then call them back on as soon as he sees the hog-to-hog time in his hand in a span of about 1 second. Take a look. Yep, you can go. So a good shot there by Plies. Maybe would have liked another foot if they could get that behind the tee to take away the hit and roll opportunity for Dropkin. And for Korey right now, Mitch, they're just trying to figure out how do we set up a double at some point in this end so that we can avoid the 2.
And I'd assume it would be, they just want to roll a little bit more towards the center here.
Right. Yeah, they'd like to either roll center on this one or nose and then hope that Shuster also noses on Plies' second. So if that rock ends up going a few higher, then they can come off of their own and lose both yellows, but they're not going to count on a miss. They'd rather roll center right now and maybe get a chance to play some kind of double on skip stones. Really trying to hold the line here.
Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Rolls all the way to Barry. That's a really good shot there by Korey Dropkin.
Still lie too.
Or by, now that was Dropkin's first.
Although this one might not fly is the problem. You know what I mean? Like this will drag with this. I mean, I could hit it high and they all go, and we just take the blank. I'm cool with the blank. Like
yeah, that roll makes it so that Shuster can't.
I think I can dead stick the back one, and the top one I don't know if I can get this out
the other
and
red
stay
stone.
with my shooter.
That's in the top of the 12-foot.
I'm okay with a blank.
It will drag
yeah, I'm
to
just
make
gonna throw
that
smoke
run,
on the high side.
but
Yeah.
And if you
All
can
right.
kill it, then great.
thinks he can
Yeah,
lose
it
all
goes.
3,
There's
so
lots of space. I mean, it's a
really
inch
good
off
shot
nose.
there by Korey
Yeah,
Dropkin to
Yeah.
force Shuster
Half
into
rock,
this
it goes easy, doesn't it? Yeah.
blank end though.
At what point, because he's got 2 left,
I'm just,
at what
hopefully it
point
doesn't
would
overdrive the
you,
back one. That's the only issue.
normally decide you're going for the
It'd be
blank?
hard to do because it's lined up on the high side.
Is there sort of a
like,
set time
I
in
don't
the
think-
order that
It's-
that comes up?
It's really less about the point in the end as much as the position of the rocks. It's easier to go for the blank when you're later in the end.
We're gonna find
Maintaining
out if
one
nose
for
works,
longer
boys.
in the end is difficult, but it's way more about where the rocks are at and saying how is this end going to play out.
And he got them all. Oh,
Does
nope,
make that
not
shot.
quite.
Really wants that red one to stay off the paint, and it does. So a good shot by Shuster. So now this will be curling 101, just trading hits, and
9.5.
Shuster will attempt to take the blank end. Always interesting on these shots, the second to last shot of the end, seeing where the
Little heavy.
opposing skip wants to leave
Yours.
the last shot for their opponent. So you kind of tell by what Korey does here where this ends up, what shot he wants John to play, or what line he wants him to play from the blank. That one just ended up playing nose. I think he wanted to roll it to the middle a little bit more, but
Another thing I'm noticing too, just seeing Mark sweep there, is the more vertical positioning of the broom these days. What's the logic behind that?
it's something that we've seen just in the last couple seasons that started out, I think, with a few European teams, and they seem to think that that vertical broom line when you're trying to get a rock to curl is creating a path that the rock follows, as opposed to when you see them sweeping against the curl, you still have that full sideways broom head. But it changes every week.
Hard.
You just don't know half the time.
Even a 600-year-old sport can still evolve, I guess, huh?
So the blank is made by Shuster, and the low-scoring game that we were expecting coming to fruition through 3 ends. Shuster retains hammer. 1-1 tie after 3.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
And we're back, starting the 4th. And Ty handing off the intro to me this time. Yeah, we've seen a couple blank. We got a blank, so Schuster still got hammer.
John does retain hammer for this 4th end of our feature game.
It's fine, Tom.
Thanks for the intro there, Mitchell. I love it. We're going to have you read one of these promos at some point during the game, too.
I forgot to tell you I don't know how to read. So
You know, I knew that already, though. I've seen you try. So center guard for Dropkin to start this 4th end. And
Line's
John
good.
Landsteiner playing the out-turn come-around. Should
Close,
be a little
actually.
more curl on this side.
Nah, we're by. We're fine. It's always Chris. It's never curl. It's over curling. So.
Seeing some Minnesota Vikings number 69 jerseys in the stands
Yeah,
tonight.
timed out all the way to the top of you.
Support of Jared Allen,
Hang on, baby.
his curling team.
Kind of got soft with that one out of hand.
I was busy on Sunday evening, but did we get a lasso at the end of the game?
Haven't seen one of those yet. I don't know if Jared's saving that up for if they win a game in the
Good
playoffs
hack.
or anything like that. But
Good hack.
we haven't had any lassos as of yet. Steiner's rock coming out the other side a little bit. Here are our scores across the sheets. Danny Casper, the steal. Third to go up 2-0 on Jason Smith. Big battle there. Casper at 4-1 can put himself in pole position for the 1-2 game with a win. Scott Dunham with Andy Dunham with a 1-0 lead against Ethan Sampson in the 4th. Daryl Sobering leading 2-1 over Rich
Line's
Ruin
better.
with hammer.
A lot of curling
in
to
the
do on this
4th
one,
end.
though.
And Dropkin Schuster,
curl.
our feature game, of course, 1-1 in the 4th. Not a lot of fireworks out there yet tonight, Mitchell. Some low-scoring games.
Still curl. Take a look.
Home crowd would really like to see Sobering get their first win of the week. So with that 2-1 lead and hammer, decent position maybe for Daryl to do just that.
You guys like going around instead?
The low scores tend to mean there's some good curling happening out there.
Just top 12 here.
Right. It can, yes. A lot of times it has to do with the strategy, playing a little more conservative. A lot of times it's that their shot making going back and forth, and it's difficult for teams to score more than 1 point. So at the elite level of play, especially
It's really running.
the best teams in the world, when they're just trying
I think
to
it's gonna
bleed
have to be
points out
Tom.
of each other, a lot of times you'll see trading ones and a blank thrown in it here and there. But so many ends you'd see
Keep going,
in those
Tommy.
top-level games, there might be a dozen rocks in play, but it's just so hard
good,
to get
that's
more
good,
than
that's
one
good,
because
easy.
of the execution and the rock placement from both teams.
I noticed
I
we've
don't
got
even
some
care if we
ringside
kill this.
fans this evening, too.
That's a new development.
really
yes.
matter.
There is a small concrete area around the ice where there are no seats, and there are some fans and some VIPs that are in that area. Even see some
Whoa.
tables over on the left
Close.
side where
Close.
people are putting their adult beverages
Chris.
and such.
Hard, Chris.
Well, they needed
Hard,
to
you
do
gotta move
something.
it.
Either
Keep
let the
moving
fans down or like get a roller
Keep
derby
moving it.
match
Keep moving it.
going at the same time.
Way under. He was overthrowing those, eh?
That one hangs out a little bit again from Hamilton. That intern floating a little on Matt right now. It's not usually an issue for Matt. His intern usually get all the curl that we need.
That's a really difficult shot.
So bumps the red to the open, rolls out.
Is that
Stepera now
I think it's
calling
top button.
draw around
no?
to the top of the forefoot.
Top button gives him the double, right?
Might be the top then.
Split?
Might be the split.
Split's okay.
Might be the split then.
Yep.
Back 8.
Stepera calling for the split.
Seeing just a
instead of
touch
the clean
less.
Draw. I believe they're thinking that that stone could be used for an in-off. They lead at top 4, so I'm going to move that stone back to
Mine's
back
good.
8s and try to roll in.
Just clean. Easy.
In my Tuesday night league, the in-off was always a favorite.
Close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for any leagues, in-offs should
Close.
be a favorite, and they're way more fun
Whoa.
to play than
Not
Curl!
not my
Curl!
Thursday night league though.
Hard curl.
just Tuesday. That bumps and rolls under. Shuster does sweep it the back 12s, but shot rock under cover.
Fucking tapped it a little far.
Good shot by Mark Fenner. Less concerned about that bumped stone counting as much as getting buried. So Hamilton playing the intern, I believe, split on that rock in the top of the 8-foot, trying to give themselves a couple options for bumps. This really turning over hard in the middle of the sheet. Actually getting all the way to tapping it open. Kind of got in between both
Same
shots
line I
that they
just
were
threw mine on.
eyeing up. The tap to freeze
For
or
sure.
bumping the red was really close to that guard.
I don't think we want
But
to
if
leave
they
too many
catch it
yellows sitting
thinner,
around.
split those open so that they could both be used for a possible tap. Would be a better result. But I think overall, good to move that stone, Mitch. Essentially, that rock in the top of the 8-foot, even behind 2 center guards, serves as another guard for Team Dropkin. So even though Dropkin will be hitting this and rolling in, it's a better position for Shuster than it was. But this roll's so important now for Stepera.
This is Andrew's first year on this squad, correct? If I remember
Yes,
correctly.
this is his first year with the squad. Joe Polo in his
It's pretty good.
Big.
Heavy.
Joe Polo, my most recent celebrity skip at the House of Hearts.
Joe's a very good selection for those events, no question.
Very excited
Okay.
for that to be coming back this year.
Joe had a relatively recent addition to his family, his second child. Congratulations to Joe. And John Landsteiner's first child is in the building. Little Carter at his first nationals.
All sorts of babies popping up around this community.
Yeah, well, you're well aware. My 40th birthday party, there was about 800 children in there from all the curlers that attended, and people were jockeying for position already to be coaches for these youngsters in about 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I would imagine we saw a 2020 or 2040 something Olympian in that photo, maybe.
That'll be a fun one to have in the future, no question. Really nice shot here by
Threaded the
Blyes,
needle
getting
there.
through the port, bumping that rock back to the back 12s. Shuster now sitting 2.
And the infamous Shuster cheering section is present tonight.
Now Luke, Logan, and Sarah all in the building. Jackie as well.
Giving him round.
Kind of the same way that you always know when John's in the building. You know when Luke and Logan are too. And I mean that as
he could knows the high one, right?
very vocally cheering for their father.
I got to imagine hearing them yelling from the stands gives you a nice little
Yeah.
jolt.
I know that it does for John. I know he really appreciates it, yes. So a double attempt here from Dropkin. Andrew Stepera's second of this end. Trying to hit about 3/4 of this rock, pick that yellow one over the top. Ends up a little too wide. Sticks that stone in. You may see Shuster play the same shot that Dropkin played earlier with the tap back and roll, and that is exactly what John is signaling. You'd think maybe I played with the guy before, you know. That was his initial signal. I think that's what they'll stick with, and I think it's the correct shot. Yep, no second guessing from Shuster here. So maybe back 12 type of weight. Chris would like to cross this, bump maybe a thick half of that stone to back 8s and roll under cover and put some pressure on Team Dropkin. Line looking really good here. Landsteiner now sweeping hard to hold the line. Rolls perfectly under cover, moves that to the back of the 4s. They would have liked that to bump another foot at least, but a very good result at the same time. We'll note, Mitch, that I believe that Schuster's managed to break that microphone once again somehow.
Yeah.
So, not. Is he going to be able to roll and stay shot here?
Yeah, he's only rolling maybe 1.5 feet. So, regardless of the weight, he can make this with whatever weight he wants. Dropkin should be able to be on the back of the button. Shot rock.
Weight's good. Board.
This 4th end is very important.
It's a good board.
Not just because they'll be buried, but if they don't get the roll, Shuster will have the same opportunity. They'd have 2 undercover. This is hanging out, really trying to turn it over to get the roll. Now it is. Oh, just missed the sweep at the end to try to get that to turn a little more. So now a big opportunity for John Shuster. If he can get inside of this red stone and roll in, won't be a whole lot that Dropkin has to look at.
I have to say I'm a little out of practice dressing for cold weather, so I might be doing some coat shopping tomorrow.
Now that Texas heat's thinned out your blood, Mitch. You're weak.
Yeah. Although I think it might be warmer outside the arena, so.
Very good chance. And this is the warmest it's been in here this week, too, right now. Earlier today, especially this morning, was frigid in this arena. Great temperature for the action, for the games, and for the players. For those of us sitting and commentating, ends up being a little chilly. I know it's against Minnesota state law for me to admit that as a Minnesotan, but.
Well, I have a Texas driver's license now, so I will admit
You're
it.
off the hook. So Shuster playing this in-turn bump and try to roll. Taking a hard turn here. Actually touched the back of his own yellow stone. Straighten that out. Still ends up in a very good spot.
If he knows it, you might just leave a shot for 3.
Again, a couple catchers in the back.
And the one right in front of Korey Dropkin's feet could definitely come into play if they do try to move this stone. I think Korey is deciding they don't really have a whole lot of option but to just clear this rock and give Shuster the draw for 2.
You don't like just peeling it out, Core?
7-5 is fine.
So this will be peel weight in turn. Again, one of Korey's favorite shots in the center of the sheet, but we'll have to concede a draw for 2 to Shuster. See that deliberate take back, very slow-paced drop. For those that think you need to go fast in the hack in order to create drive, that is not a problem. Easily picks that out, but Shuster now will be drawing the 8-foot for their second point.
With some cover in the back too, if he decides to be a little heavy.
Does have backing if needed. I'm sure John is not thinking about that right now and just trying to throw his draw to the 4s. And Mitch, we did mention on that hit and roll by Team Dropkin that if they didn't get that roll, Shuster would have the opportunity to roll in instead and take that position, and that's what created this opportunity for 2 for John. So last shot of the 4th end on the way. Shuster just throwing a draw to the 4s. 8 foot's good enough. Hamilton just cleaning this in. Gliding a little bit, but should be just fine. It will be 2 for Shuster.
I suppose it's a good sign when Landsteiner backs off around the hog line.
It's
right?
either a good sign or a really bad sign. One or the other. As long as Matt's still with it, then it's a good sign. Save your energy, Steiner. Long week. So Shuster gets 2 in the 4th end. Score now after 4. Shuster leads Dropkin 3-1.
The everyday person may not aspire to be a professional athlete or an Olympic athlete. You may just want to be the best person you can be. You just may want to sleep better. You may want to feel better. Thorne has many products that can support all of those things. So it's not just about performing or running faster or jumping higher. It's those little things that go into having a higher quality of life.
Beginning of the 5th end of our feature matchup, 2023 Men's USA Curling National Championships. Team Shuster now leading Team Dropkin 3-1. I would expect to see Shuster come right in the top of the 4-foot now with this 2-point lead.
So does breaking ahead by a couple change the strategy now?
It'll be a little more conservative, a little more chance that they bail earlier. It looks as though they're actually playing to, right to the top of the 12s instead. I think they were actually playing a tight guard instead of going in, so that's a little more aggressive attempt by Shuster. Does end up sliding into the rings, but definitely a little surprised there. Staying aggressive.
I like the weight.
With that in the top of the 12s. Stapera will have Howell throw a corner guard.
Line's good. Little bit of room. It's Korey now. Needs to take the curl. You gotta go. It's Korey.
Weight's fine.
Question on
Little bit of
YouTube
curl
about
wouldn't be
the
bad.
success that our team had against
Next time.
reigning Olympic gold medalist and six-time world champion. Is it now? I believe 6. Nicholas Sedin. It's not really that we had a complicated strategy on how to play against Nicholas, but they're such a good defensive team, and I've brought this up on the web stream a few times this week too, that you can't really count on misses as much as you're just trying to make them chase you. So we didn't play over aggressive, but we always wanted to be first in, so they were chasing our stones. So they'd make 9-10 runbacks in a row, but you miss the 11th one, you're going to end up giving up 2 or 3 points because they're still chasing your stones. They can make as many as they want. And at the same time as that, you know, there's just some matchups in any sport where it just plays the one team's favor by contrasting styles.
Line's
The
good.
way that we played moderately aggressively, but still
Line's
always
good.
wanted Nicholas chasing our rocks.
Out of room. It's Corey.
It also
Corey.
gets to a
Corey.
mental point where once you get a win or two in a row on somebody, then
Hard
you
Corey.
know that you have a winning record against them. They know that you have a winning record against them. And
That was
Keep
you.
going,
You
keep
all
going,
you
keep
had
going,
a
keep going.
pretty decent head-to-head record
Okay.
against Adine, didn't you?
yeah, we in the 2-year span, I think 2.5-year span, we were 5-1 against Nicholas. And I've said many times, we were happy to play Nicholas in the gold medal game, and we're probably the only team in the world that wanted to play Nicholas Adine, but we had such a good record against him, and we were confident against him. But strategy-wise, really, that was it, is we just tended to beat them in and keep them chasing our rocks. So you kind of take that advantage away of a really good defensive team when all they're doing is just preventing you from scoring. They don't get the opportunity to score multiple points. So we had that confidence against them from getting a couple wins before the Olympics. We beat them in the 2016 and 2017 World Championships as well.
7-5.
Great shot.
7-5.
I like trying to kill as many yellows as we can.
So Peel.
Yeah.
Team Shuster starting to get their feet underneath them a little bit right now. And I can definitely speak to the fact that once they get momentum going, especially when Matt starts making finesse shots like that this is an extremely tough team.
Yep.
Whoa.
They're a confident
Yes.
team right now.
Hard. Whoa.
Whoa, whoa.
Whoa. Okay, it's pretty good.
Mark Fenner opening up the center.
Clings to the edge out there.
Yeah, Biter still on the edge for Shuster, but now 2 corners for Team Dropkin. Nothing in the center. John will play this peel, possibly double peel. I like this call. I don't like playing the center guard on a rock that's only biting 8 foot, because it's either a really short run for Team Dropkin or something to come around and use as 2 guards for Dropkin too.
I'm guessing it's secondary, but there's a pretty good chance this rock stays in the house too, or ends up in the house, isn't it?
If it does catch the backside of that second guard, there is a chance it would go on the rings as well, yes. So we'll see if Hamilton can execute the double peel. Ended up a little bit on the wide side, but accomplishes the main goal of peeling that corner.
Beats this. Ooh, that looks.
This one swung a lot.
That looks like really tight
Another
ice
look
too.
at the scores so far.
I think it's a little more than that.
Danny Casper leading Jason Smith 2-1 at the break. And
I wouldn't mind even a hair
has
more.
Hammer.
I mean,
Sheet B,
Chris took like middle
Scott
of the 4 foot
Dunham
and got
leading
over there.
Ethan Sampson
I think
4-0
it'll
after
go.
a steal of 3 in the 4th end. Sheet C, Daryl Sobering takes another 2 in the 4th and now leads Rich Roon at 4-1. In our feature game, John Shuster leading Korey Dropkin 3-1
Lot of room.
here in the 5th end.
Lot of room. Hard for curl.
Mark Fenner playing the
Hard to
intern
get a
draw,
piece cut.
trying to get
Hard,
underneath
hard,
the
hard,
corner.
hard,
They
hard.
need this to curl, and they need to go for distance.
All the way, all the way, all the way, all the way.
Chris Plies will have a little piece of this stone at least. And only buries about a quarter. Could be an either-or shot here for Shuster. Obviously, they're playing the rock in the house, but pro side would be to lose that corner guard if they don't kill the rock in the rings. Little straighter turn. Shuster calling clean out of hand. Very good sign. This looks to be right on target from Plies.
You know, I think we're still catching a little bit of John on the mic anyway, I think.
No, that's not a mic. That's just his volume. Really nicely done by Plies. Rolls right to the top of the 4 foot. And as we said, Mitch, really looks like they're getting a good feel for the conditions right
Straight
now.
spot.
Getting comfortable.
How much you
Very
throwing?
important for Team
9-5.
Dropkin to try to hold
Kind of.
that momentum. If they can
Hair
still
less,
find
Core.
a 2 here, there is enough space between those rocks to possibly make
Real good.
a double and roll. At the very least, clear 1 stone and roll under the corner. Andrew Stapera playing Pretty firm weight. Only way that you clear both stones and get the roll is to play this with at least firm.
It's good.
10-5.
No, it's 9-5.
Close.
It's 10-5. Really tight
Whoa,
stick.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Curl.
Roll.
Sit.
Does make the double, but will it spin, stay on?
right.
It does. And Schuster's second stone actually stays on the paint as well. A little surprised at the weight they played at that shot.
Hard to tell, but I think it's still too yellow. Correct?
It does look that way. We've been fooled by the overhead many times, but it appears that Schuster is sitting 2. John mapping out where they could possibly throw this stone. And John going to throw to the side of the 4-foot. That corner guard is the one that John's concerned about right now, Mitch. There isn't a really good spot for Schuster to hit that outside rock and roll in. They want to throw something that no matter where Stapera would throw his stone under that corner, it can't out-count Schuster's number 1 counter. We'll see if Plies makes this draw to the 4s, if Stapera does indeed decide to draw under that corner guard. That rock only getting to the top of the 8-foot, so there's an option for Dropkin to play the hit and roll off of that.
You like that ice? I felt like you were pretty back on
I
yours.
Draw around.
Okay. I think I should be close.
Not likely that it'll be
Speed's good
shot
here.
if it's buried,
I can give you what I gave on that guard I threw in the ring.
Corey's not
probably.
concerned about that right now.
Yeah.
They just want to
Same-
get one
same speed as
undercover and
Ben.
see if they can figure out a way to score 2 from there. Stapera's second of this end, playing the intern draw.
I think it's
Top
close.
12, top 8.
Mine's okay.
Top
No,
8.
Room.
It's
Got room.
It's got him.
Top 8. Top 4.
8 and
Got a
room
curl.
on hand. The weight's good.
Be to the
No
back
matter if they can get this
Okay,
to
we're-
bury. Still got a long ways to go to curl, so now Dropkin telling them sweep it all the way back to this rock in the back of the 12-foot. Maybe overcook this a little bit.
Oh,
Goes all the way by. Not sure if they're even second count. Now it looks as though Schuster might be sitting 3. So a sweeping error there, really trying to turn it over and carry it to that back stone, but rock just kept carrying Mitch and goes all the way to the back of the 12s. I know we've all experienced that quite a few times.
nope. I've never overthrown a rock in my life.
I was going to say you've never overswept a rock because you
Oh,
didn't
that's
put in enough
impossible.
effort to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I was all set to agree, and then you pulled a fast one on me. So Schuster deciding where the best spot is now to go, and they want to stay away from that corner guard if they can. Didn't really see exactly where John was pointing to play this stone, and maybe a guard, maybe a tap. I would expect that this ends up maybe being a tight guard and let Dropkin play the come around draw. If it is a tap, they may double and roll. And with that broom, it may just be a tap too. Landsteiner trying to get this to turn over. They are indeed playing that tap. A little bit of a split, which actually ends up pretty good. Dropkin eyeballing
Triple?
a possible triple.
It's thinner than that.
This may be there, Mitch. It's very close.
Quarter, probably misses
If
it,
they
right?
make the triple and
Probably
stick,
better
now
to
all of a
stick it,
sudden
right?
that yellow stone up in the top of the 12-foot gets awfully lonely.
And they've got a couple of their own tricky little biters around the edge too. So
Yeah, and that's the point in playing this triple. If
What else do you like? You try to make
could
it.
make
If
things
they
a little
didn't have
interesting heading into the break.
right, if they didn't have those biters, then you'd probably
Quarter.
see Korey just hit the top
Thin,
one and try to
thick
roll
quarter.
underneath cover. But if they do make this triple, then there's a little pressure on Shuster to stick around with his last one so that the other two don't come into play.
All right.
So Dropkin again, yet another peel
Make it.
weight in turn in the middle of the sheet. His bread and butter.
Okay.
At the very least, he wants to get rid of the 2 and the 8
Run
foot.
pretty normal.
If we can get a bonus on that rock in the back of the 12s, then again, this end will get a lot more interesting. Not playing it with a ton of weight, doesn't need
weight's
to
good.
at this angle.
Close.
Real close.
Oh. Curl. Curl.
Get
Oh,
this
oh, oh,
up a little bit. It's going to be very close.
Try.
A good try.
Oh, and just papers by the back one.
Good try.
Does stick around for shot rock, so Dropkin sitting 1, 3, and 4, or 1, 4, and 5. Shuster sitting 2nd and 3rd.
So is the play here, leave it in the open and just maybe give up the single?
Yeah, John just doesn't want to leave any kind of triple opportunity for Korey. He's just going to hit and probably roll towards the center line. Shouldn't really be any options for Dropkin then to score more than 1 point. So if this does play out that way and Shuster forces Korey to 1, definitely a victory for John. He'd take a 1-point lead and hammer into the break. Final stone for Shuster of this 5th end. Outturn pass. Landsteiner immediately on this to try to turn it over. This has to curl a long ways. Looks like it should get there. Rolls over to the center line. Well executed by John.
Okay.
That will force Dropkin into a hit for a single point.
Yep.
In that low scoring affair that we expected to see, Mitch. Definitely coming into play.
Straight spot, so.
Still
think it'll do
relatively
much.
low across the board too.
Yeah, not a lot of points in most of the games out there. Only one game with more than a total of 5 points at this point. Final stone. First 5 ends.
close.
Korey Dropkin,
Yep.
outturn, hit, and stick. For
Yep.
1.
Clean. Yep. Clean.
Center just cleaning this in. Looks to be just fine. And Dropkin does make the hit and stick for 1. 5th end break means it's time to talk to you again about Warm Room Hero, the intuitive curling club software that takes the stress out of schedules, registrations, and more. Warm Room Hero, a platform built for curlers by curlers. Check out Warm Room Hero at curling.club today. Again, the score at the break. John Shuster 3, Korey Dropkin 2.
Let's say you're in high school and there's a sport you like, but sometimes you think, you know, it might be cool to try a new sport.
End up with a corner guard on the other side of the sheet.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
Oh, here we go. We're back here at the 2023 Men's and Women's National Championship, USA Curling. And we're in the fifth end break of John Shuster versus Korey Dropkin. You're looking at a score from another sheet there. Danny Casper, his team, young team against Jason Smith, featuring the former NFL All-Pro Jared Allen there. That's Casper up 2-1. This is Dropkin Shuster. 3-2 for Shuster over Dropkin as we head to the sixth end. Shuster will have hammer in that end. It's been a great week so far here in Denver, and we are headed, I think, if a lot of people look at it, for some tiebreaker games, perhaps. Probably a bit of a surprise to see Dropkin and Shuster come in with 2 losses into this game, so both of them need this win. I'm Dean Gemmel, and I'm joined here in the booth by the VP of Brand Licensing and Partnerships at Columbia, Matt Merriman. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here. It's a lot of fun. See everybody out there on the ice.
Yeah, so Matt is our key contact at Columbia, and of course they've been a great supporter of curling in the last few years, and we're happy to have them on board and happy to continue to work with them on a number of things. So Matt, tell me, give me your take on curling so far. This is actually, I think, your second major curling event you've been at.
Yeah, I think I'm like a lot of people with it. You know, we tune in during the Olympics and say, hey, what's this sport? It's pretty exciting, but ever since Columbia got involved, you know, it's been fun to get to not only learn the sport a little bit, but get to know the guys and really immerse ourselves in kind of what the needs are. And but it's can't beat being here. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're happy to have you, and I know the players really like the Columbia apparel we have, and we're selling a lot of Columbia apparel at our merchandise table here. The Infinity jacket. What do we call this again, Matt? What's the real name of it?
Yeah, we got Omni Heat Infinity. So our new warming technology.
And it is warm, and it's a cold building. Well, we've got, while we're talking, they're throwing the ice, the rock on the extra sheet, where the winner, if they put it in the rings, will get the raffle pot. This one looks like it might be a little heavy. Matt Hamilton came over there to sweep it, but I think it's going to go through. But we're trying to get people to win that raffle, but nobody has yet, Matt. I think maybe we get you out there.
I don't know. I think maybe, Dean, you got it rigged or something. You don't want to give up that money.
Yeah, well, you know, it's been a good revenue generator so far, but I really would like to give away at least one raffle prize. All right, we'll be at sixth end here. This is Tom Howell getting things underway. He's going to throw up the out-turn guard. And I will say, Matt, for as little as you've been around curling, I was impressed by some of your curling knowledge as we sat on the boards there and watched a bit of this game. Where'd you pick it up?
I was gonna say broken clock is right twice a day, you know. So no, I tune in a little bit more than I let on, but just don't get me out on the ice. That would not be pretty.
So so you sponsor this sport. You're also heavily involved, I guess, in NASCAR, right?
Yeah, Columbia, you know, we have a certain number of athletes that we sponsor, not only curling, but we have Bubba Wallace in the 2311 NASCAR Cup team. We have some pro fishermen, some pro skiers. Just got done with the X Games. We had a couple sponsored skiers competing in that. It was a lot of fun.
That's great. We're happy to be part of that. Our sport may not move as fast as NASCAR or X Games skiing, but we still think it's exciting. So guard goes up, and John Landsteiner, lead for Team Shuster, throws the out-turn draw around. Thomas Howell. This is when I always say, Matt, whenever Thomas is on and I'm doing the webcast, I mention that Thomas is from New Jersey.
You can go then.
Great state of New Jersey. Out of my home club. People are, I'm sure, sick of that.
Curl.
Now, you're originally from Oregon, right, Matt?
Born in Oregon.
Born in
Oregon.
Oregon.
We got a curling club out there outside of Portland, the Evergreen Curling Club, from what I hear. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great club, and Evergreen people, we like them a lot. Great to work with. I guess Evergreen was built, I think, in about 2014 or 15. I think I'm pretty close with that. So Howell comes up maybe just a fraction shorter than he would like. And looks like Shuster will elect to draw to the open side here. Back 8 or T-line or better. He'd like to be in the back 8 here. Already lying 1 behind a stagger now. Landsteiner with the lefty out turn. So we were talking about to someone there, and we mentioned that the Japanese women's team is also sponsored by Columbia, right? The Japanese arm of your company sponsors the Japanese women's team.
Yeah, we don't discriminate. We're a global brand, and almost half of our business is outside of the U.S. And we're really excited to not only
10-5
sponsor the U.S. team but the Japanese women's team.
10-5.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the curling community is a pretty closely knit one, so people tend to know everybody from other countries.
Clean.
Especially among players at the high levels, get to know
Whoa,
people
whoa,
from
whoa,
other
whoa, whoa.
countries pretty well.
Curl.
I will say the players
Clean,
love the
clean,
Columbia
straight,
shirts
straight,
and jackets.
Straight.
I hear they have some fine Italian fabric in them.
Yeah, you don't want to get me going on how much those cost. But we're glad to outfit them in the best stuff that we can make, and Columbia has a long history of making gear to keep people warm, and that's kind of how we don't normally participate in indoor sports, but we're on ice today, right? So
yeah, we're on ice, and it's a
works.
little cool in the Denver Coliseum compared to a lot of arenas, but guys are still in short sleeves, most of them. But yeah, the Columbia gear really does feel good, and we have USA Curling branded Columbia vests and powder light vests, powder light jackets for sale that have been popular this week. So happy to do that. Here comes Hamilton playing this intern quiet wait tap. He wants to move this just a little bit, or freeze to it. Actually, he's missed it. I was too busy talking about Columbia there, Matt, and missed what was happening. But so you
10-5.
when it comes to
Hey,
how do you guys go about when you
might go
decide,
like
okay,
this.
we want to support a sport? What goes into what's the equation there?
I wish I could say it was more strategic and thought out than it is, but we got a call from your former CEO and kind of voiced it around the building, and I will say that
Close.
there hasn't been
Clean.
an opportunity
Yep. Whoa,
where
whoa.
just unanimously
Clean.
people were
Curl.
so excited about it.
Excited because they curling fills them with a smile, or just because they know it a bit more than they used to?
The amount of people that I think tune in for the Olympics and really like the sport, but never had an opportunity to play it, or and those that have, and we have a few of our Columbia employees are members out at Evergreen, and I can't tell you how excited they got. But I also, Dean, remember the first time that I got to connect with the players when we met to talk about what their needs were from a product standpoint, just sort of the level of high regard that they held our brand, and just generally that they wear it for skiing or whatever. And it was, you like working with people that like your product and your brand, so it's been
Right.
great.
When one thing people ask about Matt a lot is, and they may not realize, is that the uniforms our players wear at the Olympics are one-offs, correct? So, I mean, they're specifically designed custom for our players, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So right now we're building those jerseys in Asia, but every one of them is tailored and they're one-off for those guys, right? So that's every jersey they're wearing is a one of one.
One of one.
We're working on hopefully a few
Close.
things we've been discussing
hot.
about trying to find
Little hot.
ways to get that those same products into the shop, so that the different curling clubs will have access to the same quality gear that you're seeing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of clubs would be excited about that. We're talking about how to make that happen. I will say that we started selling your jackets and vests and the quarter zips here in Denver, and we're going to continue to sell them online post Denver here. So with USA Curling branded look. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of our curling community love the Columbia stuff, so they're eager to see it. But we'll see what we can do to make that happen.
Let's crank that AC up or open up the doors here and see how cold we can get in here.
It's a little chillier in here than most arenas, I'll tell you that. It's a little warmer in here tonight than it has been, but yeah. I know. I mean, I'm going to be wearing this vest I have now from Columbia when I curl at my home club in New Jersey. Shuster now with an opportunity after Stopera tried the run back and just put it through that hole. It was sort of tricky. Chris Plies. This is his first of the 6th end. Shuster up 3-2. Trying this freeze, going to freeze on his own. Pretty good result. Looks like Andrew Stopera will try to throw some weight at this. This rock, I think, Matt, will have some pace, what we call, sometimes we look for rocks peels at 6 seconds between each hog line. That's a thing you can go back to the offices at Columbia with and impress people. Say you throw through a 6-second peel, Matt, they'll be amazed. Or not.
People just love the hog line. We talk about that. You usually lose them a little bit.
Yeah.
Funny story about I'll tell you Shuster. I remember the first time working with him. You know, the community probably, you know, obviously very well aware of John, but I'll tell you the amount of feedback he wanted to provide for his pants. And so John picked out the fabric, the cut, took about 4 or 5 different pairs that I like. This about this one, that about that one, and that's you know, his pant that his team's out there wearing right now. So,
well, you'll be shocked to hear when I talked to him this week. I said, "Hey, you're wearing the Columbia pants," and he said, "Oh, these are the best curling pants ever." And I guess he designed them.
I'm surprised he didn't say they're the Shuster pant.
Yeah, he loves them though. He says they're great. They do. They think they're great. So yeah, good for him and good for you for matching the specs. It's funny. I mean, a lot of people outside the sport don't realize, but pants are almost like a piece of equipment to curlers. If your pants aren't quite right, your whole game is off. So you really need your pants to be solid.
You know, it's I was worried, you know, if John had so much input that you know, what are the other guys what are the rest of the team gonna think about him? And you know, it wasn't bad you know, as a whole. Generally, they you know, had the same needs, but I'll say you asked the 5 members of the women's team, you're going to get 8 opinions on what kind of pants are, and so good luck with that.
Yeah,
it's very aggressive though.
Well, if you look at the watch a video from say 2005 in women's curlings, and women's pants have really improved a lot in curling, so they're particular about them. But boy, they really they've come a long way. Fabrics and everything else have helped, that's for sure. Korey Dropkin now with Shuster lying 2. I think he's going to take a run at this long double, or at least try to roll over in that vicinity. He might just be trying to roll over there.
Hard!
Mark Fenner with the brush down.
Oh!
He's close to making this. Is it too thin, or did he get it? He sticks it. Great shot there by Korey Dropkin just a short time ago. John Shuster was lying 3, and now we're headed here, Matt, for a blank end. It's another thing you can throw around to impress people in Portland during the next Olympics. You can just say, we're headed for a blank end. People will be amazed.
I think I'll get a lot of blank looks. That's what I'll get.
Exactly. I always joke that in my hometown in New Jersey, I've emptied more than a few rooms at cocktail parties by talking about curling for too long. So, yeah, I have to measure it out. Shuster now is going to play this hit after Dropkin makes a thin double. Hits and sticks. Look for Korey Dropkin to remove this stone, and John Shuster will play for the blank. Korey's already at the other end to save a bit of time in the clock. I can report that Scott Dunham is won 7-1 over Ethan Sampson. So Dunham remains at the top of the standings with just 1 loss. Young team mainly out of the Philadelphia area, plus Colorado's Lance Wheeler on that team.
Big. Oh, clean. Yep.
Dropkin just wants to hit and stick here and force Shuster to at least peel out. Just so everyone knows, we stepped in here for one end. So I'm looking for Tyler and to come back. Hopefully he does. I don't know, John, you got, oh, all right, we got Mitch back. Tyler will make his way back here eventually, I'm sure. So John Shuster will try to hit and roll out, blank this end. He'll carry Hammer then into 7. Korey Dropkin will undoubtedly look to try to at least force John in 7. Play for the steal, would love a force, so he would have Hammers in 8 and 10. Routine here for Shuster. He hits and rolls out. So with that, another blank end here in the battle between the two American teams ranked highest in the world rankings, Dropkin and Shuster. It's 3-2 after 6, and we'll be right back after a break. Thanks for joining us, Matt, and thanks for all you do at Columbia for supporting our sport.
Thanks for having us out, Dean.
Just because you're not a professional athlete doesn't mean that you should accept less. The beauty about what Thorne does is our product quality is the same whether they're in the athletic line or whether they're just for the everyday person. Thorne has kept true to never compromising on quality, never compromising on efficacy, never compromising on safety for not only athletes but for everyone who would use their products.
Thanks to Dean Gemmel for giving Mitch and I a little bit of a break. Go warm up holding my nephew on the opposite side of the arena. After that blank in 6, Team Shuster still leads 3-2 with Hammer. The 7th end. Tyler George and Mitch Billings back in the booth. Mitch, loosen up a little bit now after that walk. Feeling good?
Stretch the legs, go cool down on the other side of the arena for a second.
Yeah, I really wanted to steal my nephew and bring him all the way over here because he's the warmest human in the building, I believe, right now.
Yep.
So, Team Shuster now with that 1-point lead and Hammer. Would love to see another blank if you're Team Shuster, but a 2-point end obviously also would be a success. So that's that 7th end situation where you're looking for 0 or 2.
If you have to go, it's Korey.
But with the 1-point lead already, Mitch, force wouldn't be a terrible situation for John either.
Okay.
Korey's definitely going to try to push the action. 2 center guards. Landsteiner's first slip to the back of the forefoot. More score updates once again. Low scoring game on sheet A. Danny Casper leading 2-1 over Jason Smith, 7th end. Scott Dunham defeating Ethan Sampson 7-1. Dunham now goes to 5-1. Has a great chance of working his way into the 1-2 game. Daryl Sobering leading Rich Ruin 5-3 in the 7th on sheet C. And, of course, John Shuster up 3-2 with Hammer here in the 7th against Korey Dropkin.
I haven't taken too many looks over at sheet 1, but they keeping it tight over there.
A lot of blanks over there, yeah. That's a tight battle.
Yes, sir, they're just a draw.
Yeah, the draw.
And also for Danny Casper in that game, if he's able to win, will improve to 5-1. We were looking at the standings earlier, and it's possible, and I may need clarification from our colleagues in the booth.
Go to the back one if you have to.
Hard line.
Hard line.
Would ensure an appearance in the 1-2 game for him.
Hard line.
Before the last game is played.
Hard, never off. Hard. Whoa, 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 whoa.
So bad. Oh, yeah.
So with head-to-head, Casper has defeated John Shuster. So I believe actually if I remember right now, that if Shuster beats Dropkin and Casper wins, that would ensure his spot in the 1-2 game. But we're not going to put that in pen. I don't want to be wrong on that one. Dropkin does have a win over Casper, so no head-to-head for Casper on that. But with Casper's win over Shuster, he will be pulling for a Shuster win if they're able to win their tilt as well. Out-turn draw attempt here from Matt Hamilton. Ignoring that red stone on the side of the 4-foot, just trying to pile up their own counters. This is way on the outside, trying to get the nose. Really would have liked to get undercover with that one from Matt. Looked like he just popped that a little bit. That line was quite a ways out.
How much?
Here.
Okay. Probably gonna run pretty straight, eh?
Yeah.
We ever play less and make sure we roll in?
Okay, this.
Yeah, we saw mine with a 10-5 here.
We do have one question.
10-5.
Someone learning the ropes of the sport, which we love seeing, new viewers, what interns and outturns are. Intern would be for a right-handed player. Clockwise rotation, outturn, which you see Mark Fenner throwing right now, would be counterclockwise. And of course, the opposite would be true for left-handers.
Clean, hard, clean,
Yes. Whoa. Yes.
yep,
Whoa. Whoa.
yes,
Whoa,
whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa.
From Fenner. Rolls under cover.
That's a great shot.
That's a great shot for Mark Fenner. That rock does bite in the outside 12s, but able to get that roll underneath, they had to play soft enough weight. So really well executed by Fenner. Great sweep call by Andrew Stepera. I believe I saw Andrew's father, Bill, in the building for the first time tonight in our little break, our constitutional that we took around the arena, Mitchell.
Got to go shake hands and kiss babies for 15 minutes.
That's exactly what we did. We did both of those things, yes. Amazing how my nephew makes me so much more popular when I'm holding him, too. Hit and roll attempt from Plies, or from Hamilton, excuse me, ends up running straight on the nose.
I feel like this is better.
Dropkin looking at
you tell
the
how
back
soft I
one,
was
but
with
I
that?
agree with Stepera. Hitting
think
that
it'll
top
do
rock,
much.
more important. So hit and roll underneath now for Team Dropkin really
Board.
put some more pressure on Team Shuster. If it does hang, they could play the double as well.
Would they start going after the guards then? If this gets good and
Pretty
buried?
likely, yeah. If this hit and roll is made, I don't know that John has much choice but to try to open things up. It'd be difficult to get the blank at this point, but at the very least to open things up and try to ensure they score. It'd be very important. In-turn hit on the way from third Andrew Stepera. Line's very close. Trying to get it to turn over to roll. That's really well done again.
Great shot too.
Lines up to the back yellow, just as important too. That's a great shot.
So John,
Mitch, that rolling to that exact spot now, even if they did make some kind of run in to clear it open, those two are gunned up right to that yellow stone on the back of the force.
so he looks like he's pointing to freeze right on the shot rock right now.
Yeah, he may be rethinking this and just trying to clear things up. You could see as many as 5 rocks moving if this is hit on the right spot. Chris Plies throwing the high hard one.
Would you use the phrase Christmas tree in this scenario?
They are a little bit treed, yeah. There's a little bit of a Christmas tree scenario with the angles of those stones.
Well, that
If that gets out of the house, almost clears the other red as well. That's a great result. Even though that other red didn't leave the house and there is one red in the 4-foot, I can assure you that's a really good shot by Chris Plies. And that really takes the steal threat mostly out of the picture.
That one.
It's the same.
Especially
draw.
with
Two ends ago, right?
Schuster's second count. That's the most important thing. That
we're
guard
just drawing,
is quite a bit riskier when you're looking at possibly giving up a 2.
Top 8.
Yeah, like top 8, top
So
12.
Dropkin just looking to draw
Nice shot,
under the
Chris.
corner
Shot
guard,
buried.
get a second counter, and
Speed's really good.
really just attempting
quick
to
track here.
force John Shuster into taking 1 point this
It's
end
almost
now.
like draws last game, right?
Yeah.
Surely take a 1-end break every game. Just walk around, get the blood pumping a little bit. Feels reinvigorating,
I like it.
right?
Top 12. I think it's really close.
Mine's good.
I'm no scientist, but
Just full 12.
Looks like it's really
I have been told in
Top 4.
this
You can go deep
elevation,
I got top
getting
4.
some circulation is
Top
never
8,
a
top
bad
4.
thing.
Top 4 for
You're
sure.
no scientist, you are a lawyer. Much different. As much as the caffeine in these Dr. Pepper Zero Sugars helps keep me alert for these games, it's important to get the blood pumping as well.
Pretty good.
So Dropkin ends up going underneath the corner to T-line. Sweepers brought it just far enough that any double that Schuster played would jam on their own stone, but there's a hit and roll opportunity. Very precise shot for Plies.
As excited as I am to be in the arena with everybody, I'm perhaps more excited for a good night's sleep tonight.
Well, you got to leave it all out on the table then, Mitch, while you're still here. Part of a champion.
I've been sustaining off Red Bull and, well, pretty much that the last few days. So.
Chris Plies with this outturned board weight hit, trying to roll underneath the corner guard on top of the number 2 counter for Team Dropkin. Sweep is on and off. This will be very close.
It's a good shot.
Needs to sit, and that is perfect from Plies. Great sweep call by Schuster. Perfect throw from Chris. And all of a sudden, that 2 is back in the picture.
Have anything on the outside?
Chris Plies being
you've
the,
got
fashion
got this bunch on the inside.
trendsetter that he is. I'm noticing the different colored shoes on each feet.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to call that a trend as much as a plea for
You know what else
attention.
I see?
I saw his teammate Colin Huffman, alternate, has the same mismatch going. So it just occurred to me now that they may be wearing the
Just have
same
no idea what
2
the ice
sets,
is.
but one of each shoe.
Yeah, good
Getting a
hack.
nod from Joel Dietz that yes, they have the same shoe size
Should
apparently.
be there.
That's
that's
a little bit
convenient.
surprising
I think we need
if
more
you've seen the
ice.
size of Colin Huffman as a human being, that him and Chris can wear the same shoe sizes. This is where you come for the hard-hitting inside information, folks.
This is, we're actually moving into the direction of the E network now, I think.
E and Bravo and all that, yeah. That's where we'll be next.
Careful.
Just hack. Oh.
Playing hack weight around the outside of this
Oh,
corner
yep.
guard. Another
Straight.
very precise shot.
Hard. Hard.
Tight to the
Whoa,
guard
whoa.
now.
Curl.
Gets by. Look at this
Hard.
shot.
Hard.
And they get it out of the 8-foot.
Great shot.
Korey
good, Korey.
comes
Pretty good.
racing down the sheet, nearly hip checks Fenner out of the way.
Well, so that's why they still have the hockey boards in.
What a great shot there by Dropkin. I don't know that they could see any of that rock from the hack. Ends up skinnying the guard and pushing that rock all the way to the back of the 12-foot, and Dropkin now sitting 2 once again. And this is the fun part of this game too, Mitch, that these teams are that talented that we get that back and forth affair going, shot making, rock positioning, things like that. There's a reason these are the top 2 ranked teams in the United States.
I noticed that Matt is still carrying the cap in the back pocket.
Yes,
to
he
this
is.
day.
I believe it's the same green cap that he's had for God knows how many years now, at least since 2015, I believe. So Shuster will play the intern freeze, trying to set up 2-point end still. There is a opportunity for Dropkin possibly to chisel that rock off, even if they do make the freeze, by playing their own stone on the 12-foot sideways into that rock. So Schuster's freeze attempt on the way. John probably also happy if it stops just short of that stone, so maybe that little run in for Dropkin isn't there. Plenty of room on the line as of now. Needs to turn over a little bit. Hamilton trying to get it to turn. Will bounce off and roll open.
Here. Yeah. I just worried that, like, it
So
probably jams, so.
Do they want to roll a little bit when they hit this? Get away from being next to everything else?
Yeah, I don't see that there's a double or triple opportunity to
I think nose is pretty good.
create a 2. Stapera seems to think that nose
Looks
is
like a lot
good.
of ice. It's pretty straight this way too, isn't it?
I think I would probably roll this a little bit towards the middle, just
I mean, draws
because you make John have to play a little different line and maybe not have a stopper rock with that in the side of the 8-foot. So if this does hit nose and John threw a hit and crossed, he could use that red stone to stop. He's not going to try to not nose it, but just gives you a little bit of safety net.
Good board.
So we'll see where they decide to leave this.
Yep. Hard, Tommy. Hard.
Clean. Close. Oh, yep. Whoa. Good.
Does cross a little and roll under. So Schuster will draw for 1 point against 3, taking Broom all the way in the middle of the 12-foot.
Seems like a bit of a new path.
Yeah, it's a little farther out, I think, than we've seen. I agree, Mitch. And
See, I'm not just here for the fashion comments.
That is your wheelhouse, though.
Yeah.
Ever since you started getting all those new boots down in Texas, too. How many different types you have now?
6.
6 more than I have. Schuster's final stone on the way, just looking to touch the 4-foot for 1 point. This is coasting a little bit right now. Sweepers have not touched it, and this looks like a lot. Really needs to hit the brakes if it gets in the slide path. Dropkin's going to give this a go. And it will be a steal of 1. So Dropkin gets the steal to tie the game.
On the plus side, they get the hammer back in the even ends here.
They do have even end hammer with 3 ends to play. So essentially a 3-end game where you get hammer twice most likely. So after 7 ends, score Schuster 3, Dropkin 3. Beginning of the 8th end of this feature game at the 2023 Men's USA Curling National Championships. Shuster and Dropkin tied at 3. Mitch, why don't you tell us a little bit about Warm Room Hero?
Sure thing. Warm Room Hero is more than just software. It's run by curlers, dedicated to building long-term relationships with your club. Warm Room Hero provides continuous support to ensure your website exceeds your members' expectations. Check out Warm Room Hero today at curling.club for special event pricing.
Folks, the amazing thing about that promo read by Mitch is that he, in fact, cannot read.
Yeah.
And he did that from memory from me
You hear less
reciting
ice?
it to him in the break. It's remarkable. He's a savant, people.
I've had to overcome a lot in my life. So.
Like spending all your money on boots
Yeah.
now that you live in Texas.
When I mean a lot, I mean credit card balances.
All right, guys.
So we are locked at 3-3
Line's really
in
good.
this clash
over.
between the United States' 2 top-ranked teams.
Perfect, Tommy. Attaboy.
Great job.
Team Dropkin with 2 center guards to start this end, and Team Shuster with a corner. So expect to see some action now. Both teams would love to score this end, regardless of how many it is. Shuster obviously like to get a 2 or more, but statistically, I think both teams would be very happy to get a point in any way in this end.
No, I actually used to be able to read, but then you introduced me to Malort and zapped out all those brain cells. So
I think you might have caused a lot of people watching this thread some pain in any games they may be playing due to us being in the booth.
Probably like
We
just
won't
top
mention
12, top
exactly
8.
why, but nice draw into the corner guard from Lance Steiner. Both leads making 2 perfect shots. Dropkin already lining up for come around draw around the 2 centers. Mark Fenner with the outturn draw.
Line's good.
Thought it was close. Thought it was close.
Line's
Lots
good.
of room. Lots of room.
when we did take our journey across the way, it looked like they
Line's
were
getting better. It's always Tom, though.
Still Tom.
starting to get low on
can-
time.
Oh,
Maybe
Tom,
some
you gotta
speeding
bury
up
it.
might be
Hard,
a
Tom,
good
bury
idea.
it. Hard. All the way. All the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. Go, 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 go,
Yeah,
go, go, go,
both
go.
teams playing with a little bit of pace right now. I don't think either are horribly low on time, but if we can get a little shot of the clocks and see where both teams are. Hamilton now looking to play, I think, a hack weight shot, hack the board with what they can see of this stone and roll to the outside. Shuster be very happy to have 2 on opposite sides of the house early in this 8th end. Barely gets by. Be close to nose, actually, on this. A good shot from Hamilton. There you see the clocks. They are indeed a little low on time. 8:30 for Dropkin, not even halfway through this 8th end, and 9:47 for Shuster. If you pace this out for the entire game, you want to have 3.5 to 4 minutes for each end at a minimum. So simple math that even Mitch and I can do. Both teams are a little behind.
I don't do math either, but yeah.
So you'll see both teams rushing a little bit now just to save some time for later on if they can. But important at the same time too, Mitch, that you don't want to rush so much that you're not going through your normal routines. You just want to be prepared in the hack when it's your turn, and any long conversations that you have about any shots need to be cut down a little bit at this point.
And I don't believe we've seen a timeout yet either. So
that's correct. Both teams still have their timeout.
Have you noticed benefits of the coaching conversations in between ends?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. With Team Shuster's squad, it's mostly the team talking within themselves. They don't get a ton of feedback from the coaches. It's more John getting affirmation about what he's seeing out there. I think Team Dropkin's team probably has a little bit more dialogue with their coach, with Mark Lazar. But they're very brief breaks. I like the idea of being able to speak with your coach during the game. So I think that was a good change in the rules. Looking over at sheet A, Danny Casper, a 3-point end in the 7th to go up 5-1 on Jason Smith. That's a big score there. And again, now putting Casper, if he can hold on, in pole position for the 1-2 game, along with Scott Dunham, who with that 7-1 victory over Ethan Sampson already has moved to 5-1. Great shot there from Hamilton again. A couple really nice finesse shots from Matt on that outturn side.
Trouble if he does that, all right?
Okay.
And that's really when this team gets going, when Matt's making shots like that. Not just the execution, but that energy that he brings. And you can hear even the building now. The fans picking up a little bit for Team Shuster. And I didn't see, but I can probably guarantee that Matt turned and acknowledged that attention on that shot. And I can tell you that was a good thing for us when we played. If Matt's playing well and he's feeding off the stands, that was a positive for us. They can feed off of that energy.
So he has, would you say, infectious enthusiasm?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Top 8, top 4?
Just top 8.
Top 8!
Andrew Stapera playing the
top 4!
Intern draw.
Okay, number 4.
Trying to possibly corner on that rock.
T-back 4. T-back 4.
T-back 4.
Hard! Hard, Tom! Hard, go, go,
Trying
go,
to get
go,
by
go,
it.
go! Keep going.
No.
Catches the back of that
All right.
stone. Goes to the back of the 8-foot. Not a terrible result. And the reason you saw them sweeping that with that weight to get by is if it clicks that rock in the top of the 4-foot and rolls open, Shuster would be able to play hit and roll in off of that stone and sit 4 and really have Korey Dropkin in some trouble.
So what would you call here? Something
I like John's call, just drawing the top 8 right down to your own stone. There aren't a whole lot of good places to go with this, but the main thing with this shot is that you're taking away the position Dropkin wants to get to. So if John makes that freeze, then Korey can't. And every once in a while, those types of shots where you're looking at the way the rocks are set up, it's not about where do we want to be, it's where do they want to be. How can they get out of this end? And John knows that after they missed that freeze, that's still the spot that they want to get to. So he's going to try to take that away and get another counter out of it as well. Over on sheet A, that is a final now. Danny Casper takes the victory over Jason Smith. They haven't hung that score for the final end, but huge victory for Casper, and now tied at the top of the standings. 21-year-old skip, Danny Casper.
And the final was 10-1 over there.
They took 5.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll do it. Score a 3, steal a 5, and that 2-1 game turns into 10.
If you run it on there, is that back one going to drag?
No, it never touches this.
I think we just played to pick this 2 rock.
That's really dicey.
I think it's really great to see, Mitch, these
It's never going back onto that.
teams outside the top
enough
tier
of the 3.
with Shuster and Dropkin,
Yeah, but I mean, if we were
obviously,
ever
causing some problems this week.
Yeah, two teams at 5-1. One of those teams will be in the 1-2 game as they play each other in the final draw. So the winner of that game will be the number 1 seed for the playoffs. Entirely possible that the loser ends up in the 1-2 game as well, depending on what happens in these other games. So hats off to teams Casper and Dunham on fantastic weeks so far.
8.
Andrew Stapera now playing the outturn pass, trying to move a few of these stones around. Really need to hold it. Go straight by.
Mark was on that early and hard.
Yeah, that was a little tight, right out of hand, definitely. Thought maybe they could back it out, but decision time again for Shuster. Dropkin does have that stone that Stapera just threw to raise in now. John doesn't want to leave that. I think you might see him play the hit on that red stone and roll in front and half bury, or even roll all the way to the other side, as he's pointing out. I think the best roll, Mitch, is maybe just a foot and get a piece underneath the center guard. But I think John might have been saying it's fine to roll all the way across, too. So that red stone is the biggest problem rock for Team Shuster right now. And again, looking at what does our opponent want to do? Or what's their way out of this end? And raising that rock in is their way out. But John can take away another shot by hitting and rolling in as opposed to just guarding that line. He would rather have his stone in that position too. So Plies playing somewhere around control weight, maybe board. Really needs to get on the inside of this. Landsteiner trying to get it to turn a little bit. And he does
that
roll
is
the half bury. That's
exactly
a really
what they
good
wanted.
shot. Just like to draw it up.
So trying to tuck it behind.
Running pretty
count right now.
Yeah, there really isn't much option left now for Dropkin but to go all out and try to draw around. I believe if they make the freeze on the back red, they may be second count. Probably just throwing it to back button, but there is a piece of that #1 counter sticking open too. So even if Dropkin made this draw to the button, Shuster could slash his own into it and take that out.
Back 4.
Yeah, back 4.
Back 4.
Back
close
8.
for line.
Back 8. Line only.
Back 8. Yep.
Little
Back
heavy.
8. Hard.
So really want to try to freeze this on that rock on the back of the 8 foot.
Whoa. Curl, 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 curl.
It's over curling though. That's going to wreck on that rock on the top of the 4s. Bounces open and now, oh boy. Huge opportunity for Shuster if he can make this roll in.
Three
Be
very
some kind of
protected
circus
rocks.
shot for Dropkin.
Yeah.
Hamilton's saying that if they make the slash double on these 2 reds, that Dropkin has nowhere to throw this stone. And they'd be sitting 4 if they make it.
5.
I got to say this. Yeah, 5. So I got to say this is kind of a little deja vu here.
This is
Even though it's not last stone, if John makes this double on these 2 red stones in the 8th end with yellow to sit 5. Definitely looks a little familiar. Opposite side of the sheet. That's about it.
And he's got about a foot more room. He doesn't got to skinny much on this one.
So in-turn double for Shuster. This time just trying to roll away, though, not stick around. And dead sticks it.
Still sitting 2, it looks like.
Still sitting 2, but a little frustrated on that one.
You there? Yep.
Or here.
Probably a little more ice.
You're supposed to make that one to sit 5 on your last shot in the 8th end, John.
Well, he might get another chance. Let's. Are we drawing? Is this a freeze to that one on the back again?
Yeah, this will be either back lid or frozen on his own. If they play the freeze, they really want to stagger it a little bit on the high side, which meaning not crossing it, but just on the side that they're throwing on. Because if this does get all the way to no, Shuster may be able to double them both out. So they just want to stagger it a hair on the high side.
Still got there. Top 4.
I believe the hometown folks just got to win.
T. Line's good.
Looks as though
T.
Daryl
T
Sullivan
back
may
4.
have pulled
Line
out
only.
their first
Hold
victory
on.
of the week,
Back 4.
and the home
Line's
fans
good.
appreciate that.
Back 4.
Close.
Back 8. Back
Must
4.
have been another big
Can't
end
go.
because that was 5-5 to the 8th. Now this draw from Dropkin. Still coasting.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Not bad.
Can't tell whose shot. That's very close. Really good draw there by Korey Dropkin.
The path is there though to throw something back.
Yeah, John's gonna be very happy with 2 here. You know, as it was a missed opportunity on the slash double that he played, but That's about as good as you can place a stone with Dropkin's draw. So Shuster only needs to touch that stone to ensure 2. The way they'll play this is just to throw a top 4 T-line weight draw, and then if the line's there, he'll have Landsteiner and Hamilton sweep to bump, most likely Hamilton to try to get it to carve and turn over. But you're just throwing this to a clean draw and then sweeping for the bump. I'm calling 8 right now, so probably all there on its own if that weight read is correct. It's starting to turn over. Hamilton trying to get it to curl. Really needs to turn. And perfectly made. So that will be at least 2. They almost kicked those rocks up, but that may be 3. If he moved it far enough, that one of the top 4 foot looks to be just 2, but definitely close enough to take a look.
I believe, and I do have to correct myself. Team Ruinen did have the big end there in the 8th.
That's not what the scoreboard says.
Oh, they flipped it around.
I
was right.
That's what you get for trying to read again.
That's what I said. And it's numbers, too.
Even numbers. So this will be a measure for a 3rd point for Shuster. They already have guaranteed 2. Kicked it out, so I believe that means it was just 2 points. So after 8 ends of play, John Shuster leads Korey Dropkin 5-3.
Twin Cities Orthopedics is ready to go with more doctors, specialty services, and convenient urgent care locations. Ready, set, TCO.
Beginning of the 9th end in our feature game between John Shuster and Korey Dropkin. Shuster taking 2 in the 8th end to lead 5-3. Folks, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our friends at Floor Curl. Floor Curl USA curling member clubs are entitled to a 20% discount on any Floor Curl inflatable rink set. These rinks only take a minute to inflate or deflate and are the perfect way to promote your club at summer festivals, events, or anywhere you have a flat surface. No ice required. Visit usacurling.floorcurl.com and use the promo code FCInflatable20. That's usacurling.floorcurl.com. Promo code FCInflatable20.
And we had them at the closeout of my company party last night, and it was a hit.
That is correct. So company get-togethers and parties. Mitch is attesting now that these things are a big hit. So that red stone for Dropkin just off the rings. Shuster coming into the top of the 12-foot. Mitch, I got to tell you, a little spooky. We were talking about yellow possibly sitting 5 in the 8th end in Team Schuster's game.
Yep.
Obviously, we're referencing the Olympic final, for those that don't know, where we scored 5 in the 8th with yellow stones. Looking over at sheet A, Danny Casper scores 5 in the 8th end with yellow stones. Sheet C, Daryl Sobering scores 5 in the 8th with yellow stones.
Push them down, boys.
A little creepy.
It's a little spooky.
I don't remember seeing more than 1 or 2 5-point ends this week in the games that we've done. Actually, I don't think we've had any 5-point ends in our feature games. For the rest of the tournament, not real sure. So Matt Hamilton coming into the rings again, and with the blank, an opportunity for Team Dropkin. They're going to save clock and just play this out, trading hits. You may see if Team Shuster gets any kind of opportunity to get a force with some kind of freeze, even with one rock in play, that they'll take that opportunity because you can change the percentages of win-loss so much with up one with as opposed to up two without. And even if they were to give up a two, they'd still be very highly favored to win the game, even with the no-tick zone rule tied up with hammer. So the rest of this end will probably fly by now with these teams trading hits. But when we get towards skip stones, we'll see if Shuster tries anything goofy to try to force Dropkin to a point.
Yep.
Mark
Hard.
Fenner playing the outturn pass.
Hard. Clean. Clean. I don't mind rolling that way.
Just cleaning all the way in. We'll make the hit and roll to T-line. Definitely a good time for a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar break. These hits traded back and forth. Chris Ply's throwing the intern.
Are you angling for a couple cases to show up at the house back in Duluth?
Mitchell, I'm not sure what else I can do to ensure that by this point. I don't know that they've ever gotten so much free advertising.
Very prevalent in my new home state of Texas. Dr. Pepper everywhere.
That's good to know. Checkbox. Checking the positives for the state of Texas on that one.
Yeah, there's a couple. No, it's a great place. And you can curl there. There is an arena club based in Austin that has a spiel, I believe, coming up in the end of May. So great time to visit and great time of year to visit, too.
Wonderful people at the Lone Star Curling Club in Austin, Texas. Very hospitable. Best of the best. Hit and stick once again made by Chris Ply's. Andrew Stapera following again.
So this is the type of end where my banter skills are supposed to be.
This is why we bring you in for this exact situation, Mitch. We obviously didn't bring you in for your ability to read. Your fashion sense we appreciated with the talk about all the boots you have and everything. You see that hit and roll for a double for Stapera. That was by design to take away any possible freeze or hit and roll attempt to freeze by Shuster. So now 0 rocks in play. John will get a good look at whatever draw path he wants to see right now. He's choosing the outturn going down. So remember that for if this comes up in the 10th, if John does have to throw a draw at some point. He'd likely choose that side of the sheet as he's trying to get a good read on that one now. Hamilton and Landsteiner just valeting this stone into the 4-foot circles.
And I'd say, well, that should give you some good information on that draw path.
Dropkin immediately throwing the outturn pass. And he's going to peel, and this is a smart play by Korey. Matt swept that to the back of the 4-foot on purpose because if Dropkin hits and stick, John would have thrown that freeze immediately to try to get a force. The exact same situation that we had against Kevin Cooey in the Olympic semifinal where Cooey elected to hit and stick. We played a little freeze. Cooey hit and rolled out, and we forced them to 1 as opposed to allowing the blank.
And now he's going to the wings right here.
Yeah, very, very smart play by Korey Dropkin, not falling into that trap by Shuster.
And what's the goal of this? Just to make him throw a different type of hit this time, or
Yeah.
a different angle?
Yeah, there's a reason why they're throwing it to a certain spot. They want Korey throwing his out turn as opposed to his in turn. And in situations like this where, you know, it's not that Korey's out turn is weak. It's that if he has the preference between the two, he's going to throw his in turn. So John's just going to throw.
Clean. Yep. Yep.
And Korey's going heavy
Hard.
here to
Hard.
get the peel and the blank. And he's successful.
Spin.
And that is the end of the 9th end with John 5, Korey 3, and we'll be back for the 10th.
The everyday person may not aspire to be a professional athlete or an Olympic athlete. You may just want to be the best person you can be. You just may want to sleep better. You may want to feel better. Thorne has many products that can support all of those things. So it's not just about performing or running faster or jumping higher. It's those little things that go into having a higher quality of life.
Tenth end of this feature game between Shuster and Dropkin at the 2023 Men's USA Curling National Championships. Dropkin with the blank in the 9th end. We'll be trying to get their 3 here in 10, at the very least a 2, to push this game to an extra end.
And John is going to try to keep it pretty wide open here, I would imagine.
Yeah, Shuster won't want a whole lot of rocks in play, but with the 5 rock rule, as opposed to what you saw a few years back, they won't be able to peel on their 5th shot. So in this situation, normally you might see just 1 rock in and then 1 through, or 2 rocks in and then the 3rd one would be your peel for Shuster. But because they can't peel on that 5th stone, there's a decent chance you'll see either 2 rocks
Little curl, if anything.
on the center line in the house and a guard, or 3 rocks on the center line in the house.
And now, because if it's on that center line now, can't touch it either, correct?
Yeah, for any guard that Shuster would throw in this situation, they would not be able to tick. I don't believe that Dropkin would play that shot in this situation, but if they did end up short for whatever reason, that rock would have to stay on the center line. We'll see if John elects to leave this just tight in front, or if they do bring it into the rings. Definitely trying to get it at least tight. I think that's where they were playing it too, so knowing that they can't move that rock, Shuster plays to a tight guard. Now Tom Howell playing
It's a little bit more.
Line's
corner
good.
guard to the opposite side, trying to get even up with their other corner.
Little room. It's always curl. Just get him even. Line will be decent enough.
Here Korey saying get him even, or Andrew Stapera saying get him even,
good.
I believe.
It's good, Tom.
So 2 good stones from Tom Howell. Shuster now looking at possibly throwing a high guard. I think coming around is probably the better play, and that's what they're looking at now. That rock, Mitch, that they'd be guarding is just a little bit too high to throw 2 guards on top of, and you really be giving Dropkin an opportunity to go around those stones himself if you throw a guard, I think. I'm not sure if you do it on this next shot or not, but John comes to the 4-foot. Stapera will have to play to that stone at some point.
And maybe
that goes right
That's a
to the
great
lid
shot.
all the way around. Really good shot there by Hamilton.
I was thinking the freeze, but
A couple different options now.
really curls here.
so he's going to bring it all the way in.
They are electing to play the freeze on this rock on the button.
Line's good.
Mark Fenner
Line's good.
playing the intern freeze.
Line's good. Close.
Line's
close
good.
line, yep.
Right
Yes.
on top of that one on the button.
Clean,
Line's
clean,
good.
clean.
Close. Yep. Yes.
Line's perfect.
Line's good.
Yep, yep, yes.
Really starting to turn
Lock it on.
over.
Line's good. Line's good. Line's good.
Whoa,
Line's
whoa, whoa, whoa.
That's very
Another
well.
very
done by
good shot.
Fenner. Perfect position. That is the only danger in playing that draw to the button is that freeze now. John has to decide if he wants to come down and refreeze or move his own yellow stones. And they will freeze, and I think this is the correct call. So Hamilton playing the intern. Again, both of these teams at 3-2 for the week. The loser will have no chance of getting into the 1-2 game, as Dunham and Casper are both 5-1. Loser will also be in a bit of a tenuous position with 3 losses going to the final round robin game. And that freeze bounces off a little bit. Now the door opens a little bit for Dropkin.
And you obviously still want to make the playoffs, but that is a much longer road through the 3-4.
Absolutely, Mitch. Besides that, you get the grace game with the 1-2. If you lose the 1-2, you're not eliminated from the playoffs. But the 3-4 game, regardless of your results, you have to win 3 in a row.
Let it run.
No matter what.
No.
Lots of room, too.
So this all-important game for both
Starting
teams.
to curl.
Gotta curl. It still has to curl.
And Mitch, if this rock
Stay close.
curls,
Stay close. It's really warping in there.
In that pocket,
Oh, no.
Dropkin will have an opportunity maybe to find a 3. That's really good.
Here we go, boys. Here we go.
Oh, boy.
And it's a little bit of trouble now for John. And you see that corner guard is the rock that will now be an issue for Shuster. That corner guard is the one that Dropkin could possibly run in. So you may see a timeout. John's taking another look and throwing a guard in that hole. As long as his stone, that yellow stone that's either 3rd or 4th count, as long as that's still in the 4-foot, Dropkin will not have a shot for 3.
So you like the guard play here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad situation right now for John, so I like it in that I think there isn't a better option. I don't like it in that he is kind of forced into it because he doesn't have the angles on his side. That freeze by Hamilton bumping off and allowing Dropkin to make that double freeze really is what's putting Shuster in a little bit of danger. So they're going to take away that line first. And again, as long as that yellow stone is still there, Korey doesn't have an angle in for 3.
Or is it ever this?
Gotta be real careful where that shooter goes because we want to leave this open.
Yeah.
You can just make the double
You'd have to
rip,
whip it.
but it probably goes back.
Yeah. We don't want to disturb this.
Nope. Is like the timeout now?
Yeah.
Timeout.
Okay. Timeout.
Is it ridiculous to open up the middle too?
Kind of thinking, but like how?
I was thinking this, but
If they ever decide to smash, we're in big trouble. I don't know if it's that doesn't get under there.
what
Is
about,
it
I think it would
bad,
be
though?
this if you do it.
But that you risk.
Yeah, you're right.
Listen in here and see what Dropkin has to say.
Yeah,
where
you
they
got to be
wanna
real
go
careful
here.
where this
Right.
leaves, where you leave it.
I mean, I could throw a peel and it'll go
I
for
think
sure.
with peel, this goes no problem.
Yeah.
7.5, it goes.
Just
Yeah,
has to
because
be
you can hit
precise.
this right here and it spills far.
It's not the worst if you just plan it there either.
Yeah. We just
So
can't
what was
go
your
too high.
preferred
I
way
don't
of
wanna touch
interacting
this.
with your
Yeah.
coach in a
Yeah, we
timeout?
got this one too.
Yep.
This one's the favored.
Yeah, it depended on what
We
we were
did
looking
this,
at doing
yeah,
or,
yeah.
or what the situation was.
Best shot is
A
to
lot
get
of
them both
times
out and
when
we're
we
gonna
call
lose the shooter,
timeout,
right?
it might be just to take a little extra time, even though
Yeah.
we had a pretty good idea what we were doing. I think the vast majority of our timeouts were having Phil reaffirm what we were thinking already, or if we were thinking 2 shots, what he liked more. But very rarely we were like, what would we do? We usually had a pretty good idea of what we wanted to accomplish. Is just trying to decide between a couple different things.
You can plant it in there and it's good.
How we wanted to play out the rest of the end. I think that's probably pretty similar to what you saw there with Mark Mazar.
Make it good, buddy.
And Korey Dropkin's squad. So it looks like they're playing a slash in with that yellow guard, possibly trying to lose the rock in the top of the 8-foot as well, which would open up the angle run from the opposite side too. So they open 2 shots up with 1. This is really thinking outside the box. If they make this, they're going to have a tough time taking both away.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
That ends up pretty good. So now you can see that that path is open to the 2 red stones that are frozen, but the opposite side also is open. If Dropkin runs in that angle corner on the left side, he might be able to lose both of those yellow stones and keep his shooter. It's not the highest percentage shot, but they'll take any chance for a 3.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, and now looking also at that angle that Shuster was looking at, there may be a triple on the 3 yellow stones right now that are in the house, playing the outside of that rock on the side of the 4-foot. So Schuster's going to throw another rock in the house. Really, again, trying to avoid 3 at all costs. My math says because they'd lose the game if they gave up 3. So
that was
would be the reason.
Yeah. I mean, I once heard that the team that scores the most points is probably going to win the game.
There's a very good chance of that. It's happened so many times throughout the course of my curling career. So this rock turning over hard right now. Looks like it's going to wreck the guard. Now it's a matter of where these 2 guards end up. Is that triple still there for Dropkin?
I think you double.
It's a triple, just about.
Mitch, I think this triple.
Even if you just roll the frozen, it's really good.
Are we okay with letting him make this now?
I make this.
I mean, we'll be.
Yeah. Then he's also
Does he have the line
Okay.
to throw the weight he'd need to throw at it?
I think so. I think he can. If he hits what he can see, I think he makes it.
I can
On the
just
hack,
roll it.
maybe
You
there's
just
a little
freeze
less
the
than
red?
What we think, but
Huh? You can freeze the red.
Is
that
now
bad?
for Dropkin with the
Make
clock
the intern
running,
freeze
but
again. I don't know if that's great. I don't
Okay.
mind just like hitting and rolling over there.
Back line and just tap the yellow on nose.
looking at maybe just a soft weight hit and roll
What are you
over
thinking,
as
like-
well.
Control?
I think we leave it
I
there.
think we want to leave it.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think
Just make the double.
making the double and leaving that stone may be a
10-5.
better option now. So this will be maybe a, I'm going to guess normal weight, hit and roll over, unlock this stone. And this is the stone we've been talking about the whole
10-5.
match. That was the saver for John. As long as it was there, they couldn't get 3.
Hair down.
Dropkin can remove
Hair
the
down.
stone. John's situation gets even more tenuous. Fenner trying to get this to curl.
I
Does
touched
make
this
it
one, guys.
almost
I don't know
clip
if I
that
moved.
stone too. So Dropkin now sitting second, third, and fourth, but they left that shooter in a spot that may leave an in-off double. So really needed to get that to curl just a little more so that it rolled to a freeze instead of moving that yellow rock open. So Schuster will throw peel weight here. Looks like he's playing the out turn. Try to kick that number 2 counter yellow or red stone all the way out the opposite side. So just not a great leave on that shot by Team Dropkin, and looking at it again, maybe they think that triple may have just been the shot, and take that out of play. But John would probably have this exact same shot anyways if he did. Oh, it just ticks both. Oh, spills out the back.
Still
Actually
sitting
needed
shot.
to sweep that a little bit, I think. It touched the top stone, so need to hit it a hair thinner. Schuster still shot.
I don't know if you can.
Right here. Delete this guy. Can we have this guy?
Yeah. Can you get there?
It's real tough. It's just warping in there too hard. I don't know if you can.
Seems like they'll end up
Maybe.
having to
You could
use
also
one
throw
of
that in there
Schuster's stones
softly.
to try to get that rock out of the back.
Just need it though for.
Or can they still build something with their last
You're to freeze
rock
here,
or
what is
two?
he playing?
Yeah, they. I
Ripping
mean,
the guard
Dropkin's
Just-
really
I think he's
trying
playing
to
that.
throw
he's playing
something
this for the
now
win.
that gives him multiple
I'm okay
opportunities
with that if you wanna
on
do
his
it.
last for the win.
If you just get another
I think it's
point
just
in there
warping
and
in
he
there
rips
too
that, then
hardcore.
you have this for the win. Maybe you might just want to be here, Korey. Like get it out of the way. Just in case this comes firing back onto our own.
What do you think?
What are we doing?
So
We're just
Dropkin
drawing to light.
will throw a draw to the
Right.
8 foot
He's here though. You
to have
that
another
for three.
counter because they believe they have multiple shots to get that Yellowstone out right now.
You like that?
So if they throw this to the 8
I think
foot,
it's this or to the back one. I'm okay with either.
The back one's okay.
they're setting up their own in-off.
Yeah.
To the back one.
We've thrown this.
Now they're switching things up and just drawing to the back, trying to get another angle to get to that stone.
And they are really not going to have a whole lot of time to talk about that last shot either.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to need it. They'll
See?
probably have a pretty good idea of what they have to get that rock out. They don't have to worry about what John does
Team
after.
back four.
It'll just
Like
be
to-
what shot do we have to try to win this game. So,
Oh, mine's good.
so this one was
Back
the one to
eight.
take a
Like
little more
go.
time
Yep.
on,
Mine
definitely.
only.
Whoa, whoa.
Back 8. Back
Whoa,
8.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Back 8.
Close.
Back 8.
The girl to get off that guard and does. Trying to get this to sit back 8. So it could serve as another counter.
All
It's
right.
just good enough. Maybe a catcher now for that yellow stone, but Schuster will call timeout.
May as well. Can't take it with you.
You cannot save them for the next game. That's correct. So Dropkin's shot to win the game right now is that angle run back that we talked about earlier on the outturn side. So Schuster trying to figure out where he can put a rock that either takes that run away or makes it so that the run wouldn't be for 3 with wherever he'd put his own stone. He's talking about possibly hitting that guard so that it's not a red stone. Even if he knows that with his own, wouldn't have that run in. John checking to see if there's an angle running on the opposite side too. I don't believe there is. I think his initial read was right, getting rid of that rock. That's the one that Korey wants to win the game. If he rolls in a little bit as he's signaling, it's possible that there's a bump coming around that yellow stone. Bump their own red into that yellow for 3. You have to get so close to the guard to make it, but it may be there. So Schuster will attempt to hit this guard, roll in a foot and a half to try to take that path away. Wise move by John because this guard is the one that Korey would run in for a shot for 3 for the win.
And he kind of gums up the works on a run back too with his own stones, if he rolls enough.
So last stone for Schuster. Definitely wants to roll this in towards the center too. Rolls all the way to center.
I don't know if it's there anymore.
So
Korey.
Dropkin with 43 seconds to throw this stone. Try to figure out what's there. There was a straight run possibly on that yellow stone, but I believe Schuster took it away with that roll.
I don't think there's anything.
Doesn't look like there's much of anything. Dropkin has to throw something regardless. I don't know that there's a shot, though.
Just gotta skinny the red.
17.
That's right next to the yellow. Is that like a third?
Thinks maybe he could skinny the red and pick this Yellowstone off the back of the button. I think that's his only option. Has to just paper by his own and pick that rock out, possibly for the win. Ooh. Goes by on top of both. So a steal of 1 for Shuster and a 6-3 victory. Mitch, I said 7 points to win this game. 4 would have been good enough.
Well,
but Shuster ends up with 6. And a huge victory for Team Shuster to get to 4-2. Dropkin now 3-3 in the standings and going to be fighting for a playoff spot come tomorrow afternoon.
Well, that was my first one.
That's a good one to start
got
with.
Got it in the books.
Yeah, quite the game. A lot of shot making late on. Again, Shuster takes one in that 10th end for the 6-3 victory. Back and forth battle. Puts Team Dropkin on the brink. Take a look at the updated standings in a second to see where these teams are at. As you see, Casper and Dunham at 5-1. They are now qualified for the playoffs. Regardless of the result tomorrow, they play against each other. The final game, the winner of that game will be the 1 seed for the playoffs. Loser will be 5-2. Danny Casper does have a win over John Shuster, so I believe Casper is now locked into the 1-2 game based on the head-to-head with Shuster. Scott Dunham also beat Shuster, I believe. So am I correct on that, John, that Dunham?
It was Smith was the other one.
No, Jason Smith beat Shuster for the other one. Okay. So we're getting this straight before we put anything in stone. But Danny Casper, by way of his victory over John Shuster, we do believe now is locked into the 1-2 game, regardless of their result tomorrow against Scott Dunham. Dunham needs a victory or a Shuster loss to have their spot in the 1-2. Now, I'm just throwing those things out right now, folks. Let's not say that that's absolutely done. But I am fairly certain that Danny Casper is now in the 1-2 game. So you look at your finals for tonight. Casper with a 10-1 lead over Jason, or 10-1 win over Jason Smith. Scott Dunham defeats Ethan Sampson 7-1. Daryl Sobering gets their first win of the competition, 10-5 over Rich Roonan. And of course, John Shuster in our feature game gets that all-important win to go to 4-2, 6-3 over Korey Dropkin. Mitch, thanks for joining. It's been a lot of fun.
Back at it in the morning.
Yeah, the two of us will be back here once again tomorrow morning for the women's feature game, which will be McMakin and Workin. Afternoon game. Myself and my brother-in-law, Derek Benson, will be on the call for that big tilt between Scott Dunham and Danny Casper. Not sure at the beginning of the week, Mitch, that we thought that that feature would be between the top 2 teams in the standings and for the number 1 seed.
And they get to hear Derek on the call.
Well, they don't. Everybody else does. So signing off for the evening, this is Tyler George with Mitch Billings. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again in the morning.